and then the camera will pan over. Yeah. So it's not like we're going. Okay. So we'll be good.
All of you, please speak into the mic really small.
Okay.
Got it.
Can we take
But
our
he said
masks?
to eat it, so.
Can we take our masks off?
Please remember to speak well
Okay.
into the mic.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And y'all can see the signs.
I've timed it pretty well. Fingers crossed. You know how it is when you're at
Good evening. I guess that wakes you up. Can you hear in the back there? Okay. Well, good evening and welcome. Thank you to those of you that have come out this evening to join us in person. And thank you to those that are joining us on the airwaves. Welcome to the 2022 Municipal Candidate Forum sponsored by the Leadership Roswell Alumni Association. I'm Rick Kraft. I'm the Executive Director of the Leadership Roswell program. I've been asked to be the moderator here this evening. Throughout this year, we'll be voting on local, state, and national positions. I've heard it said many times that of those three elections, the most important election to vote in is a local election, because these individuals who will be answering questions here this evening will have more impact on your day-to-day living than the other two levels. At the outset, I want to encourage each of you to get out and vote, and to encourage others to get out and vote. As we open here this evening, we're going to start by having an opening flag ceremony and a Pledge of Allegiance. That'll be done by Boy Scouts Troop 2 and 149. And after that, we're going to have the national anthem sung by Sean Lee of Grace Community Church. If you could please rise at this time for the opening flag ceremony and remain standing till after the national anthem is through being sung.
Color guard, attention. Color guard, forward, march. Color guard, halt. Color guard, prepare to present the colors. Please post the colors. Please join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. Scout salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2. Color guard, reform. Color guard, return to post. Color guard at ease, you are dismissed. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please remain standing. Tom Blake, Director of Worship for Westminster Presbyterian, is going to sing God Bless the USA, and that'll be followed by an invocation prayer by Pastor Troy Smotherman from Church on the Move.
If tomorrow all the things were gone I'd worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife, I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the ones who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend us still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of New Mexico, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, from New York to LA, well, there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the ones who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend us still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the ones who died, who gave that right to me. Gladly stand up next to you and defend us till today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Let's pray. Father, right now in the name of Jesus, we do come and ask you to bless the United States of America. And Father, we thank you for every good thing you've given us in this country, in our state, in our city. For every good gift is a gift from you. But most of all, we thank you for sending Jesus, that all that would believe upon him, that you would save. You would save their lives. And Father, we pray we honor you tonight. And Father, we pray for wisdom in our city. And we pray for wisdom, that you give supernatural wisdom to the candidates here, that they're able to articulate their message. And that, Father, we elect those that will honor you. We elect those that will move our city in the right direction. And Father, we give you all the praise, all the glory, and all the honor. In Jesus Christ's mighty name we pray. And everybody said, amen.
Thank you, Pastor. You may be seated. Well, what a gathering this evening to get our community to come out and participate in this candidate forum here. I believe Roswell is the best place in the world to live, and I think many of you here share that too. The future of Roswell will be shaped by what happens between today and March 1st as we elect the leaders of our community going forward. There's 5 contested city leadership positions that are up to you to determine who will serve in the next terms. We've got 16 candidates that are vying for 5 positions. You'll hear from 14 of them tonight. One candidate who is running unopposed will also address you. Each of you who live in the city will be voting for a candidate from your ward, and all of you in the city will be voting for the mayor position. So tonight's about educating and informing you, and the Leadership Roswell Alumni Association is glad to be able to do this. The forums have been conducted since 1996, so this has been 26 years that the Alumni Association has been able to put these on. This is the 36th forum. I've been honored to be asked to moderate each of them. After tonight, 2.5 decades of asking questions, we'll have asked questions of 389 candidates for 182 candidate positions, from city positions, state, and even on a national level. The Leadership Roswell Alumni Association is a nonpartisan organization. It consists of graduates of the Leadership Roswell program, which is a Roswell Chamber of Commerce program, which has been around for 39 years. It's the oldest program of its kind in the state of New Mexico. There's 977 graduates. There's 26 students presently participating. So in 3 months, we'll pass over 1,000 individuals who will have gone through the program, current and future leaders. We appreciate the support of the city. We've had great support over the years. Joe Nebb, Juanita Jennings, the last couple of years with the COVID issues, they've been godsends to help us get through the last couple of years. Many in our city leadership are graduates of the Leadership Roswell program, and several of the candidates this evening are also graduates of the program. As I said, the goal this evening is to educate and inform you, to educate you better, equip you better when you go out and vote. Many of you are familiar with the format. Let me quickly explain what the format will be going forward. We've got the candidates for wards 1, 2, 3, and 4 will be up here first. The candidates for wards 1 and 2 are already up on stage. We'll ask each of them 4 questions. They'll have 1.5 minutes to answer those questions. Each of these candidates for the city council positions will have 2 minutes for their opening comments and 1.5 minutes for their closing. The mayoral candidates will have a 3-minute opening, 1.5 minutes closing, and they'll be asked 7 questions. The questions which I'll be reading to the group up here have been submitted from members of the community and from the Leadership Roswell Alumni Association committee that's put together this form. They've all been predetermined, so I'm up here just reading the questions. None of the candidates know the questions ahead of time. So if I read a question slowly the first time, I'm trying to give the person up here the opportunity to think through the question. It's not that I'm slow, which some people would accuse me of, but I'm trying to help the first person who doesn't have much time to decide the answer. All the candidates running will be asked the same questions, except in the mayoral race, there's a question that I've been asked to ask each of the mayoral candidates, which is different. This is a forum, not a debate. Be sure that your cell phone is off, so that doesn't interrupt us as the evening goes on. I'm going to ask you not to clap or cheer after your candidate speaks, but after we get through with all of the candidates for each ward, we'll do a collective round of applause. Out front, we're raffling off a New Mexico state flag that is flown over the Capitol in Santa Fe. It's been donated by Dr. Sean Powell. He's a graduate of the program and president of ENMUR. If you would like to have a New Mexico state flag, the tickets are $1 each, and you can, if you buy more, you get it's less per ticket. But there are people out in the foyer that will be selling them to you, and it's going to help underwrite some of the expenses that we have here this evening. Many hours have been put in putting this together. Y'all have been involved in community activities. And so I want to thank some people before we jump in with our questions here. I'm honored to be an ex officio member of the Leadership Roswell Alumni Board. I've been involved with the program for 30 years, so I've sat at a lot of different tables. But it's a good group of people. Whatever this group touches is a success. The chair of the committee is Hannah Robertson. And let me read off the names of the others. As I read your name, please stand up, and then let's thank these people for their hard work putting this together. Elaine Mayfield, and some of these people are backstage or out front. Mike Winters, Amy McVeigh-Tejas, Hope Morales, Jean Ann Dunn, Todd Versiglio, Damon Graham, Patrick Smith, Matthew Chappell, Shelby Dutton, Rodney Austin, Eric Neria, Tom Palmer, and Tanya Kraft. Let's give this group a round of applause. It takes a team to put this together. We also want to thank Xcel Energy. They've helped underwrite this evening. They do a great job helping out financially with programs in the community. And Bimbo Bakery and Melissa Versiglio have cooked goodies for us out front there, snacks for this evening. And we also appreciate Roswell Independent School District for allowing us to host this forum here. And finally, we appreciate Pecos Valley Broadcasting and Mike Winters and his team down here. They are broadcasting this live. They are broadcasting on ksvptv.com, which is their website. It's also the site that carries the high school sports and such. It'll be posted on there after this evening. So if you want to go back and watch what happened this evening, you're welcome to go back and see it, or if there's others that you think should watch it. It's Roswell's Talk Radio, FM 106.5, the home of Mornings with Mike Winters. And finally, I want to do one more thank you before we get going. The forum would not be a success if we didn't have the candidates coming out and participate. And we have been real blessed over the 26 years to have the candidates participate. We're only down 2 this evening. I'll explain that later. I talked to Sharon Call, our city clerk, last week. She said she's worked for 10 years doing these elections for the city positions, and she said she's never seen 17 candidates register. So to me, that's exciting. That's a big deal that people want to step up and lead in our community, and I appreciate those that are up on stage this evening answering these questions. They're opening themselves up to be scrutinized and criticized, and stepping into the arena is a big deal for me. So I'd like to, before we jump into the questions, let's thank all the candidates here this evening for coming out and participating. So we're going to begin with questions to the candidates who are running for City Council Ward 1. And let me introduce you to these 2 people. On my far right is Christina Arnold, and to her left is James Edwards. And at this point, we'll allow each of the candidates 2 minutes to share any opening comments. Ms. Arnold, you can open tonight's evening with your comments.
Okay, now you can hear me. I'm used to going first. My last name is Arnold, so I am Christina Arnold. I'm running for City Council Ward 1. I've had a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. I'm a compliance paralegal, and I run a small business called Girl Friday. I have 3 beautiful children who are no longer in the home. And then I have a wonderful husband and a wonderful mother. So I really appreciate my family. My family background here in Roswell has gone back to the 30s, so we have some longtime roots. Our hometown is Roswell. I'm very proud to call Roswell my hometown. I'm on several community organizations here, and one of the things that I find very interesting is that the people in this town are amazing as far as how they give, what they've accomplished, and they've really been good about teaching me how to be better and to do better. And so to me, it's a priority to utilize my skills to give back to my community. I really wanted to focus in Ward 1 on business development, infrastructure, and crime. And so I'm hoping that the questions will actually allow me to expand on that tonight. I wanted to thank you for the opportunity to run for City Council and the opportunity to be here tonight. Thank you, Leadership Roswell Alumni Association.
Thank you, Ms. Arnold. Mr. Edwards, your opening comments?
Good evening. Good evening. What the? Good evening. My name is James Edwards, and one of the things I'm doing is, why am I running for City Council? Why I am currently serving as a member of the Roswell Independent School District. This question keeps coming up. My answer is quite simply, I was born and raised here in this community and am passionate about this community. I'm concerned of the future of our community based on the directions and actions by the current and previous councils. I want to positively affect the lives of individuals I personally am the caretaker of, as well as others. I am concerned over the spending and the current or previous councils have approved. I want to make sure that I am prudent with taxpayer money and spend money responsibly. I see the lower economically challenged kids being left out when fees are imposed on quality of life services provided by the city. We need to revisit these issues, and I'm very passionate about these issues. I am currently a member of the New Mexico Army National Guard and have been proud to serve my country for the last 20 years. I am currently serving my second term on the Roswell Independent School District School Board, currently working as a student advisor. I'm a graduate of Roswell High School. I work at Eastern New Mexico University, Roswell, as an academic advisor for Gear Up, so I'm still involved with the kids. I currently serve as the president for the Roswell Youth Football League and have been a member for the last 20 years. I currently serve on the ENMUR Equity and Diversity Committee. And I've been part of Roswell for forever. I've lived in the same house for about the last 45 to 50 years. And I do have three kids that currently are residing with me, and they are my kids because they are my nephew, two nieces and one nephew. And I do appreciate everybody coming out here to listen to the forum. And, you know, like the song said before, God bless America. Thank you, Mr. Edwards.
The candidates this evening will be asked questions alphabetical, and the same question of the city councilors will be asked, we'll alternate back and forth between the two of them. So the first question goes first to Ms. Arnold. In visiting with members of your ward, what is your ward's greatest need right now, and how do you plan to address it?
So actually, I was not surprised to find that the citizens that I have visited with thus far have the same concern that I do, and that is infrastructure. They want to see our roads fixed. They want to see our tax dollars going to fixing roads. It should be one of the main priorities. And I have actually had an opportunity to speak with the city engineer, Mr. Nahar, and I really appreciate the approach he is taking, and I do see moving forward that there is progress. But as a city councilor, it will be my primary focus to make sure that he is funded and that we have good roads, because that, to me, is one of the primary roles of government. And, you know, I want to take care of my car, and everybody else does too.
Okay. Mr. Edwards?
Can you repeat that question again?
Sure. In visiting with members of your ward, what is your ward's greatest need right now, and how do you plan to address it?
I believe that the roads, infrastructure, and infrastructure does include roads. It also includes buildings, and it also includes quality of life for our children, for our kids that are coming up, because we don't fund the quality of life for our kids like we should. You know, I've read in the newspaper numerous times, you know, roads. And I know that this council recently passed a deal their deal on, we're going to give $100,000 to each ward That's not going to do anything for those wards. $100,000 is going to put a Band-Aid on things, and that's what we've consistently done here in Roswell, is put Band-Aids on things without fixing those things. And we need to address those issues. We need to take care of our community, our quality of life, infrastructure, jobs. Like I said in the newspaper, we need businesses. And it's good to have gas stations, and it's good to have hotels, but we need to have businesses that thrive. I grew up in Roswell, and we had a Levi Strauss, we had a Glover's Meat Packing, we've had TMC and Nova Bus, and those businesses have left, and we haven't brought any new businesses in like that have that capacity to hire many people. And not 10 or 15, I'm talking about 300. We need to improve on that and recruit better businesses. We're appreciative of the businesses we have here, but we need more business.
The second question will be asked first of Mr. Edwards. Every Roswell citizen wants to live in a safe community. How good of a job are we doing fighting crime, and how can we improve on this battle?
Hey, to the men in blue, you know, every time we read there's a shortage, there's a big shortage of police officers. That's not our Roswell Police Department's fault. We need to do a better job of recruiting. We need to pay our officers a little bit more money than we're currently paying. Because I looked at the wage scale of communities our size, and they're paying quite a bit more than what we're paying. The crime issue, hey, it's never going to go away. We're going to always have crime. But I believe that our men in blue are doing a good job with what they have to work with. But I think we could fund them a little bit more. You know, there's COVID money that's out there. Why not put some of that COVID money towards towards our police officers, so they do have the materials that are needed? The safety issues, the gloves, the mask, whether you're for mask or not against mask. But we need to provide for those officers. We need to provide for them. One of the things we need to do is we need to recruit from within, from Roswell. We have a lot of people that are not working and would love to go to work for RPD, but the salaries that we pay, I don't know if we're really comparable to what other cities are paying. If you look at Hobbs and Artesia, it's quite a bit different.
Yes. Okay, so I actually have visited with about 4 different professionals from the criminal justice field, and while I can guarantee that I will constantly back the blue if I am a city councilor for Roswell, I also want to note that fighting crime in Roswell is going to take a 4-pronged approach. We actually really need to look further than just adding police officers. We are about 6 down on police officers, so yes, I will definitely support adding those. But you know, when you have alternative sentencing approaches, a revolving door with our court systems, we have a lot of recidivism that is occurring because we're not addressing all issues. The cops can only continue to arrest the same person so many times. So we really need to come up with other ideas, other approaches. Like I said, with alternative sentencing, I believe that there needs to be Santa Fe involved in starting to look at how the whole state approaches crime.
The third question will go first to Ms. Arnold. Do you think city facilities and services are meeting the needs of our community? Should we be charging those to use city facilities? Should we charge those who use city facilities to use the facilities?
I think that's a trick question. No. So I will have to say that I do believe that nothing is free. Would I like to see some of our facilities easier accessed? I think that the fee schedule that has been created is somewhat confusing. I have heard the constituents that I've talked to thus far mention that it being online for the zoo is a little difficult. I think that the whole fee situation is a very difficult one because we want to provide services.
I'm sorry. Mr. Winters is down here trying to take care of it. Yeah.
We want to provide services to our residents, but at the same time, we need to maintain the facilities. I think that needs to continue to be looked at, and I think that people need to, of course, continue to come up with ideas and solutions on it. But at this time, I will have to be honest and say that nothing is free, and we have to pay for our facilities.
Mr. Edwards?
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. Do you think city facilities and services are meeting the needs of our community? Should we be charging those who use city facilities to use the facilities?
Yes, I agree that we should be charging. We've always charged here in Roswell. Like I said, I've been part of the Roswell Youth Football League for the last 20, 25 years, and I was also part of the Eastside Little League Baseball. And the one issue I have with the fees is the 70-30. You know, we all used to have fees as leagues that we paid. And most leagues paid their fees. There's a lot of time and effort that's put in by the city as well as the people that volunteer in the leagues. And it worked out very well. The problem that we've encountered, and most leagues have encountered, is the 70-30. You know, some of those fees, people don't realize we had to go up almost $20 to $30 per kid. So we had to pass that fee that the city passed on to us down to the kids. And I'm going to tell you, when we talk about crime and we talk about fields and everything else, that's quality of life. And it has affected numbers for certain leagues and some of the leagues. Nothing's free in this world, and I understand that. But we've always paid a fee. And I think the city council needs to listen to the boards when they come to the council and pay attention to what the citizens want from those leagues, because we are the citizens that vote in people and we vote people out, and that's my take.
Okay, the fourth and final question will go first to Mr. Edwards. What is the one thing you want to be remembered for at the end of your term?
I want to be remembered as a person that was approachable and that listened, and and told the truth to people. And a lot of times people aren't going to like the answer that they get, but I want to be remembered as a person that was accessible and listened, because as a city councilor, we are elected by the people and we represent the people. And I think a lot of times people forget that. I can't promise people, my constituents, the world, but the one thing I can do is I can get them an honest answer. And I want to be that city councilor, like I said, that represents the blue collar workers and represents the city, and be somebody that when I leave my term, that they can say, hey, I'm proud of this guy. And I can work with anybody. I'm able to work with anybody, and that's how I want to be remembered, as a person that kept their word, followed through, and was accessible. Because not every counselor knows everything. We don't have all of the answers. If we did have the answers, we wouldn't be running up here. We wouldn't be running right now. I want to be remembered as a person that was high integrity, fair, accessible, responsible, a person that made a change, not only with the kids, but with our community, because this is my community. I was born and raised here, and that's how I want to be remembered, as a person that was honest and kept their word.
Ms. Arnold?
So I would have to say that one of my strong points is listening and hearing people, and then noting that there is a problem and working to find a solution. I believe that I would like to be known as someone who worked diligently to build a community, a future, that our children want to stay here, that our children want to come back to. I want to be known as someone who not only just hears what people say, but does something about it. And so that is, it doesn't help that Mr. Edwards took all my adjectives. So But, and actually, yeah, I made you smile, so that's awesome. Thank you.
Okay. At this time, we'll give each of the candidates a minute and a half to share closing thoughts they have. Ms. Arnold, your closing thoughts.
I'm first. Okay. So I think the first thing, I thought long and hard about what I want to say on my closing. The first thing I would like to say is that I really appreciate Mr. Edwards. I appreciate him for being a veteran. I appreciate him for dedicating his time and his effort to the children of our community. However, Mr. Edwards has committed to the school board. Mr. Edwards should commit and continue to stay on the school board. I am willing to dedicate my time and my efforts to the community of Roswell to start working on the issues that people have, and I am hoping that I can count on your vote on March 1st, or actually tomorrow, because early voting has already started. But I just want to ask you, please feel free to come up and ask any questions you have of me. Talk to me about what you want to see of Roswell, because that's what I want to help you create, because I believe together we can create an amazing place to live.
Mr. Edwards, your closing thoughts?
All right, a lot of times people ask, it's not the first time people have mentioned the school board. I'm very good at multitasking. I can juggle a lot of things, and I have continued to juggle a lot of things. I humbly and respectfully request your vote and allow me to work for you and to be a strong voice on your behalf. I will represent all constituents in Ward 1 and will sit down and visit with anyone that would like to visit with me. I can honestly guarantee one thing, is that I will not promise to come in and make changes, as I realize I am only one vote. The other thing that I would tell you is I'm very fiscally conservative. I believe we don't spend money that we don't have, but I also believe that we need to invest into our youth and to our retirees, and for Roswell to grow, we've got to get together. We've got to bring it all together. And one of the things that I've seen is we're not all together. We're not all on the same page. There's a lot of bickering, a lot of mudslinging, and I just think that I would appreciate your vote on that date. And I believe I'm a unifier. I like to unite people. We can agree to disagree. There's people out there that know who I am and what I'm about. And I also, too, I can't see the sign too good. Okay, thank you.
Is this on? Okay. On behalf of the Leadership Roswell Alumni Association, those here in attendance this evening in our community, thank you both for seeking the Ward 1 City Councilor position. Good luck to both of you. We will now be asking questions of the candidates in Ward number 2. There are 3 candidates that are running for this position. Let me introduce you to the 3 of them. We have Juliana Halverson, we have Joseph Horn, and we have Margaret Rogers Kennard, who is also the incumbent. At this point, we'll give opening comments to these 3 individuals. Ms. Halverson, hopefully the microphone's on. Your comments first.
Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you for inviting me to this forum and allowing me to speak. My name is Juliana Halverson, and I am the Christian Conservative Republican in this race. Those of you who know me and worked with me understand how passionate I am to help Roswell grow and thrive. I've worked with countless organizations and businesses, helping them to succeed and to help make Roswell a better place to live and to work. I am not a career politician. Running for city council is an honor I take. The Roswell city government has forgotten about its citizens. They've forgotten about you. The leadership in Roswell needs to have an effective working relationship with the police, the fire, the economic development, the Chavez County, nonprofits, and small businesses to help or improve our community. My goal is to help Roswell grow for generations to come. To accomplish this, We need to continue to fight those who are working to take away our freedoms. I have attended every protest that is illegal, that helps close our businesses and is destroying our children's education, and I will continue to fight for our rights. I want to be the counselor for the people, not the appointed counselor. The city councilors are the ones who vote on the laws. That's why it's so important to have a representative who actually cares about the community, not their own personal agenda. I'm extremely proud to call this city my home, as I have always felt that Roswell is truly one of the greatest places to live. I look forward to representing you. We need a city councilor who will work with the mayor and the council while having the strength and conviction to stand up to them when they are wrong. I feel I am that candidate. Thank you.
Mr. Horn, your opening comments?
Hello, I'm Joe Horn. Thank you for being here tonight to hear what I have to say. Why I came here 22 years ago when I retired. I am single. Because I had nothing to do, I went into politics a little bit, and here are the list of things I've done. And I wasn't in public office either. I got long buses stopped. They were too long, going through small residential streets. They were too noisy, too ineffective. Also, there was no ridership. There is on Main, but not on the side streets. I removed Mayor Journey because Mayor Journey told me such an outrageous lie. I went into politics and I worked 4 years to get him out of office. The next candidate I got out of office was Bob Woolley. Mr. Woolley stopped me from getting justice. I went to get justice and he said no. I had to close community associates. The reason being is I made an accidental negative comment about heroin, and everybody there jumped down my throat. The receptionist was in on it, the nurse's assistant, the doctor, and the therapist. I screamed my head off so bad, I knew already by past experience, no one would help me. So I kept screaming my head off until finally Governor Martinez shut Counseling Associates. That is what heroin is doing in your community. The drug dealers will harass them outside. They go to Counseling Associates, and they're devastated into committing suicide.
Thank you, Mr. Horn. Next will be Ms. Kennard, your opening comments.
Me. Does that work? Okay.
Okay.
Yes, I'm Margaret Kennard. That is correct. I was appointed in 2020 to fill a vacancy by Caleb Grant. Not something that I had originally planned to do in my life is to be a politician. I'm usually the one that's door knocking or making phone calls. But I do count it as a privilege and an honor to serve Ward 2. I was born in Silver City, and we were transferred here with my dad when he was transferred with the state police at 3 years old. I grew up in Dexter, graduated from Dexter High School. I attended Eastern New Mexico University, Roswell, and Eastern New Mexico University out of Portales, and I earned a bachelor in criminal justice with a minor in sociology. I have pretty much lived here my entire life. I feel like we've raised our children here, and hopefully one day they'll come back. But it doesn't look so good. A lot of the issues that are brought up this evening are national issues. So what can we do, right? So I think we are all doing the very best that we can to make Roswell as good as it can be. In New Mexico, there are so many things that come down from Santa Fe that affect us, and we only have so much power here, but we're doing the best that we can to keep it free. And as a matter of fact, I did vote to keep Roswell open and to not enforce the mask mandates that we all enjoy down here. I plan to do the very best I can. I do not have an agenda. I actually was approached by, Main Street Roswell to go to work for them when Kathy Lay left. So I feel like I was a good choice for them, and I feel that I can do a good job now. Thank you.
The first question will go first to Ms. Halverson. Roswell is known internationally for a UFO crash in 1947. What role should the city play in organizing and implementing the UFO festival each summer, and how does that differ from what we are doing now?
Well, as you know, Main Street Roswell ran the UFO Festival for years. Before that, it went through several different organizations. When Main Street Roswell took it over, we collaborated with every entity that had anything to do with the festival, including the city. And for years, that relationship worked wonderfully. So Main Street Roswell recently gave it back to the city to organize. And that last year was the first year, and I know there's a lot of growing pains there. And we wanted to see it succeed because, we've worked for so many years for it, and we understand how important that tourism is to Roswell. So I think what they're trying to do right now, work with different entities as we did. I think it's a good idea, but I don't think they are totally listening to all the ideas, because last year some of the ideas they did, we told them not to try, we knew it would fail. So I think they just need to listen to the organizations more, but keeping the organization, where they're including other people, I think that is a good thing. The staff with the UFO Festival right now, they're organized, it keeps changing, so that's making it difficult this year. And of course, having events downtown and not having an MOU with Main Street Roswell is also affecting how it works. So the public has the right to attend those, and they are invited to those meetings. So I encourage people to go because we do want to see it succeed because it's so important to the growth of Roswell. Sorry, I'm just looking at the clock. Yeah. But I do think they need to maybe privatize some of it.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Horn?
Would you repeat the question?
Sure. Roswell is known internationally for a UFO crash in 1947. What role should the city play in organizing and implementing the UFO festival each summer, and does that differ from what we are doing now?
Well, I've been to many of the festivals, and I've seen good ones and bad ones. I think the festival was better when it was bigger. I think it attracted more people. Bigger also makes it more interesting. I would do everything to make the festival as large as possible.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Kennard?
Thank you. Growing up, I didn't realize the impact of the UFO festival. I can say this, when I was young, I didn't understand it, but I realized the importance of the UFO festival here in Roswell economically, and to encourage tourism to our part of the state. I would say that coming up on the 75th year, yeah, we're going to have to go bigger. We're going to have to do better than we've done before. I feel that there's opportunity for growth. Yes, we do have it back now. The city is managing that. And so I do feel that it needs to be, as Juliana said, it has had some growing pains, of course, taking it over from the ground up again. There's work to be done, but I think that we can do it, and I think that the staff is knowledgeable in that area, and I believe that they can do it with our help. Thank you.
Thank you. The second question will go first to Mr. Horn. In your opinion, what is Roswell's biggest asset and biggest liability, and how will you use these two extremes to make Roswell a better community?
Well, I think one of the major aspects is the festival itself. It attracts people and brings in money. What was the other question? What was it again? What was the question?
What is Roswell's biggest asset and biggest liability? How will you use these extremes to make Roswell better?
Well, the biggest liability for Roswell or anywhere else is public officials using heroin and harassing people when they go to get justice. You cannot get justice in Roswell at any price or how hard you try. And they shut these people up and frighten them so bad that they'll never talk. I've had the Catholic Church deal drugs to 5 generations of my family, all free, and there's another branch of my family for 5 generations, the Polish side of the family. The Polish factory, all factory workers and low-paying jobs. No one has ever gotten justice. So what happens in Roswell happens in other places as well. Thank you.
Ms. Kennard?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Sure. In your opinion, what is Roswell's biggest asset and biggest liability? How will you use these two extremes to make Roswell a better community?
I think that the biggest asset is the people. I feel that we're also in a good location. We have a university, we have NIMI. There's so many good things about Roswell, but I think the people and the people that are committed to Roswell is what makes it great. I would say that the biggest detriment, is that what you said?
Biggest liability?
You know, I think that Roswell gets a bad rap for crime, but I think that's in certain circles. It doesn't affect everybody. As a matter of fact, when I was door knocking last week, that was an issue that a gentleman had brought up to me, and I asked him if he felt unsafe in our community, and he said no. But I do feel that crime does affect the way that people look at Roswell. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Halverson?
Okay, not to steal Margaret's thunder, but I wrote these down too before she even started talking. So, but I do think the biggest asset is the people. When you go to restaurants and you've got people, welcoming, tourists here, it just helps people, enjoy the community. But not only that, that's not going to keep the people here. What keeps the people here and makes them want to visit is our culture. We have so many museums that just show so much culture. The city-owned, the UFO museum, those are huge assets that bring people here. So we need to keep those going. The biggest liability to me is the crime. I think if you want to improve the quality of life, we need to stop, a lot of the crime. And it's not the police. The crime's, crazy everywhere across the nation. But we need to figure out how we can, fix the crime problem. Because people aren't going to want to move here. We want people to move here because then we want to grow, and that will improve the quality of life because you'll get more businesses here. It will affect, how people live. So.
Okay, the third question will go first to Ms. Kennard. It is very common for our young adults to finish their Roswell schooling and then move away for college or other reasons, never to move back. Is it important to our city to bring our younger generation back? And if so, what can the city do to encourage them to return?
Absolutely, it's important. I know that you personally deal with this issue with your family moved away. My kids, 3 of our children are off to college, and we don't know if they'll come back or not, probably not. All I can say is we can address the issues of infrastructure, we can address the issues of crime with, supplying our officers. We're not down a whole bunch. We're down 6 officers. That's not, I know in past years it was a lot more than that. So that's really not a huge amount. We can try and make the city the best that we can in the departments that the city manages, but there's other things that affect that, and I'm going to have to go back to, we live in the state of New Mexico. We have a lot of issues with education here. We have a lot of issues with economy. Those are things that Roswell can't fix. We can try to do the best that we can, but those are issues outside of our control. I sure hope that one day our children will come back, and when they have families, we'll be near our grandchildren, but I can't say that they will, and I hope that we can make it a place where our kids want to come back to. I know that when I was wanting to raise a family, I didn't want to raise a family in Albuquerque. I didn't want to raise a family in a big city. Roswell has very good qualities, a very safe place to raise children, and a good community to live in. So, thank you.
Ms. Halverson?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Sure. It's very common for our young adults to finish their Roswell schooling and then move away for college or other reasons, never to move back. Is it important to our city to bring our younger generation back? And if so, what can the city do to encourage them to return?
It is. It's critical, that we keep them. The best thing is to make sure they don't leave in the first place. We can continue to work with the ENMUR and the EDC to try to create work programs to keep them here, to get them educated. We need to work on ways to attract the young people they're starting their careers. We want them to stay here, to start their families. So we need a better quality of life, more activities, more events, more businesses that they can attend. So, because we want to keep those people here. We got to stop them from leaving in the first place, though, I think.
Okay, Mr. Horn?
I'm in agreement with Ms. Halverson. Giving them more benefits will keep them here. More social services, possibly college education, more employment certainly would do it, and they'd be less likely to leave Roswell.
Before coming on stage this evening, I had the opportunity to meet with the candidates. Because we have 4 questions and 3 candidates, these candidates drew to see who'd get the 4th question first, and Ms. Halverson drew the 4th question first. So let me ask this of her. Is transparency important in our city leaders, and what would you plan to do to foster transparency if elected?
I think transparency is important no matter what position you're in. People deserve, the citizens deserve to know what's going on. If it's going to be, like a crime bust or something, yeah, obviously you don't want transparency on that. But if they're going to go spend money, like even take, for instance, the new baseball complex you're talking about right now, the transparency needs to be there. That needs to go to the voters. Information that the city's, any kind of project they're doing, it needs, the city council votes on everything. Everything needs to show ahead what's going on with that. So, sorry, I'm starting to ramble now. But I think transparency is important. The voters do deserve to know what's going on in their city.
Okay, Mr. Horn?
Again, I find myself in agreement with you. There we go, finished.
Okay. That's like the second shortest answer in 26 years.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms.
That's a
Kennard?
tricky question.
Yeah.
I think that transparency is very important and it's very valuable. I can tout on the city that they've done an exceptional job. Every city council meeting, every committee meeting, that's available online. You can go on GoToMeeting and interact live. And then you can go back and watch them later if you didn't get a chance to. I think that the city does provide, they have made major improvements in being transparent. All of the meetings are out there. You, like I said, you can participate in person, or you can watch it online if you choose not to go in person. But I know as far delving further into transparency, Sharon Call, our city clerk, deals with IMPRAs all the time. I think that this city has made leaps and bounds improvement in transparency over the years. Thank you.
At this time, we'll give each of the candidates the opportunity to share closing thoughts. Let me call first on Ms. Halverson.
So I grew up in Ward 2. I live a block away right now from where I grew up. So I've lived in my ward for more than half my life. I graduated from Goddard, and I love my community. So my primary motivation will be to serve the public interest and to be a representative for every one of you. My record as a conservative Christian Republican is well known to many of you. I've worked with so many of you throughout the community, and I've enjoyed the time, and I'm so proud of my record. Becoming your next city councilor will allow me the opportunity to take care of the things people expect their city government to do. When I announced my candidacy, I promised to run a clean race, and I've heard there's false information that I am not a true conservative. Those of you that know me know my record stands for itself. I invite you to visit my Facebook page. My website has my bio and a lot of the information for the organizations that I've supported. I look forward to serving you, and I'm excited to see what a healthier and stronger city can accomplish. My name is Juliana Halverson. I'm a conservative Republican, and I'm committed to Roswell, and I'd appreciate your vote.
Mr. Horn, your closing thoughts?
My closing thoughts are I bank with Pioneer. In the last month, Pioneer has been harassing me mercilessly. I went a year or two ago. I went in and talked to the CEO there. I told him I was being harassed, when, where, why, and who. He agreed with me and I left. And until then, nothing has been bothering me. But this type of secret terrorism by a bank or any other institution. This type of cryptic terrorism is everywhere in Roswell. All the businesses practice it, from the smallest to the largest. I especially wanted to say that to you because I didn't want you to think I was picking on you.
I'm fine.
All right. So that's the problem. It's everywhere. It was in New York. It was in Florida. It was every place I've ever been to. So I don't know what to be done about it exactly, but I would certainly be very attentive if someone came in and complained about a business doing something like that. And I would go out of my way to help them. Because the thing that's fueling all of that seems to be drugs, or more specifically, heroin. These are called power moves. These power moves are not funny. I'll bet everybody out there in the audience has gone through a power move once or twice, at least in their life. I've gone through thousands, and I'm getting very, very tired of it. Thank you.
Is this okay? Ms. Kennard, your closing thoughts.
I don't know how to follow that.
I have some comments, but
I am asking for your vote. I have 2 years' experience on the council. I am seeking a 4-year term. I have experience. I have the education. I have an open mind, and I'm willing to listen to any constituents that call me. However, you'll find you don't get a lot of people that call you. You're kind of out there on your own, unless something really bad, comes up, or some issue that's pretty controversial. So unfortunately, we don't normally hear a whole lot from our constituents. I would like for that to change, but I do respond when I do get a call or an email. I'm ready to start work on day one. Unfortunately, coming into COVID, when I came on the council, it was three months later COVID hit, and so a lot of things changed. I think focuses that the city would normally focus on changed. Our priorities changed, and so it wasn't a normal term, I would imagine. I didn't get to go to the trainings of the municipal league; they weren't holding them. A lot of things changed, and so now that we're opening back up, I feel like we have an opportunity to move forward where we hadn't been in the pandemic. So I appreciate you for coming out tonight. I appreciate Leadership Roswell Alumni Association for doing this, and I'm asking for your vote tomorrow, like Christina said. Thank you.
On behalf of the sponsor, those here in attendance this evening in our community, thank you to all three of you for your commitment to the community and seeking the Ward 2 City Councilor position. Okay, we're going to move on to Ward number 3. Y'all are older than some of the other ones here. I mean that as a compliment.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
Because I'm old too.
Hey, just because we get Social Security doesn't mean
Okay. Let me introduce you to the two candidates for City Council Ward 3. On your left, my far right, is Edward Hildebrand. And closest to me is Judy Stubbs, the incumbent. We'll allow 2 minutes for opening comments. Let me call first on Mr. Hildebrand for your opening comments.
Is this on?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good evening, folks. First, I want to thank Mr. Kraft for his dedication to do this for many years. Thanks, Rick.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it, what you do for this community in putting this program together. As Rick said, I'm Ed Hildebrand. I'm a longtime resident of Roswell, and I'm married to Angela Bankston, a native of Roswell. I have 3 children and 4 grandchildren who unfortunately reside in Florida. I'm a member of the Roswell Rotary Club, and I have supported many activities supporting the youth of this city. I have also participated in youth sports activities with my children. That included coaching youth baseball and football. I also served as a treasurer and president of the Noon Optimist Little League. As a member of the City Council, I will bring strong financial leadership and a business approach to the city. I have over 35 years of successful business experience working with finance and budgets. I'm a CPA, employed as a Chief Financial Officer at the Crumlin Auto Group. As a Chief Financial Officer, I've been involved with all aspects of the business, which include working with city, county, state, and government officials. I will bring those relationships with those officials to the City Council. I will work to help Roswell grow. Growth of our city will create economic opportunities for us and our families. Attracting new jobs and business to Roswell is no more important than supporting our local businesses. We need to help them be successful for their future. Together, these are the road to success. We must have a city government which listens and is helpful to our existing business, not one that hinders. We must have a balanced city budget that provides for the safety and well-being of its residents. A budget which fully funds our police and fire departments, making sure that they are fully staffed and have the proper equipment. My goal is to make every tax dollar count for the citizens of Roswell. The taxpayers deserve to see improvements. I plan to look for waste and unnecessary spending.
Thank you,
My
Mr.
time's up. Sorry.
Yeah. I don't know, can you all see the signs
I
on there?
couldn't see it at
Very
all.
hard
Okay.
to see. They're very
Well,
hard to see.
sorry about that. I can.
You can, good.
And I even have my glasses on. I
Yeah.
still can't see it.
All three of us have glasses. Ms. Stubbs, your opening comments.
Thank you very much. Good evening. I first want to thank the Leadership Roswell Alumni Association for once again putting on this event, and Pecos Valley Broadcasting for airing the forum, and for all of you for being here this evening, and of course the many people who over the years have encouraged me to continue my service on the Roswell City Council. My qualifications are multifold. I grew up with a sense of helping my neighbor whenever I can and serving my community when I have the chance, and I've always put service over self-interest. I've been the director of several human service agencies and been on several more boards, giving me a frontline perspective of Roswell's needs. I know how government works, and I have true passion for public policy. I take this commitment very seriously and believe experience and knowledge have never been more important as we embark on creating and sustaining a climate of strength to strengthen the Roswell economy and meet the emerging challenges. In every decision I make, I hold paramount the health, safety, and welfare of our citizens, and I pledge to each of you truth, honesty, and open communications. Commitment has never driven me to learn as much as commitment has always driven me, Commitment has driven me to learn as much as I can about best practices for local government and to review priorities as reflected in the budget. I have a master's and bachelor's degree from New Mexico State University. Bruce and I have been married for 49 years, and we have raised 2 successful engineer sons and are so thankful for our 2 daughters-in-law and 4 grandchildren. Period.
Thank you. We now will ask 4 questions of the candidates. The first question will go to Mr. Hildebrand. Of the issues you think are important to the City Council this term, what is the single most important issue you have at the top of your list, and what are your plans to make sure that it happens?
Well, I've attended several city council meetings, and I've seen some of the items that were passed using your taxpayer dollars that have turned out to be wasteful. My most important issue is to protect your dollars and find that waste so that you get the best bang for the dollar that is beneficial to all of us, not just a few.
Ms. Stubbs?
Could you repeat that, please, Rick?
Sure. Of the issues you think are important to the City Council this term, what is the single most important issue you have at the top of your list, and what are your plans to make sure it happens?
Wow. Just as a little background information, state statute says the only thing that a city council must do is to pass a balanced budget. So we balance the budget every year by statute, by us wanting to do it balanced, and we have it audited every year. The budget to me is what really drives the necessities that we approve for the city. I don't know how to answer this. We create a lot of different things that those of you that contact us feel are necessary to the community. I personally, I'm going to digress a little bit from the question, but I think one of the things I'm most concerned about for the city of Roswell, along with the things that we always talk about like crime and infrastructure, I'm very worried about inflation. I think we're all seeing an increase right now in our costs of goods. We're going to continue seeing that. And as costs and minimum wage rises, we must be mindful of our priorities. And I'm very proud of being the part of the fiscal budget that decreased spending by 23% this past year, and at the same time we increased our reserves by 3%. So I do believe that keeping an eye on the budget is one of the most important things that we do, and believe me, we do it every day.
The second question will go first to Ms. Stubbs. Are we doing enough to promote economic development in our community, and are we spending our city funds effectively on economic development?
Thank you. As many of you know, I worked for the Economic Development Department for about 6 years, and I think I have a good understanding of what economic development is and what good jobs mean to the city, as well as what good jobs are. Economic development is critical. To develop the economy is to do just that. We all talk about the needs and the wants and how to grow this community, but if we don't have a true economic base that is there to support the needs and the wants of our people, it's very difficult to survive happily. I think we have an excellent group at the Roswell-Chaves County Economic Development Corporation. They are answering the call of the state. We're seeing many people, more so than in a long time, come to Roswell and look at not just the Air Center, but some other places that we have in town to develop. And I'm very hopeful that that will happen, because as we bring in new dollars, which is what the key to economic development is, it's going to spread throughout the community and give us all more leverage in what we spend our money on. So economic development is critical.
Mr. Hildebrand?
We have a fantastic economic development corporation. If any of you know Mike Esperito, he's done a fantastic job, and he juggles a lot of balls out there to make things work and try to bring new things to our community. But our economic development is not just a city issue. It's the county, it's the university, it's taking all of our assets that we have and applying them to create that economic growth, not only for external, but also for internal. That we need to know what's going on with our local businesses. What can we do to help them be successful? What are the restrictions that we've placed on them that have curbed their growth? What can we do for them? The city council needs to listen to what those people are saying, what their desires are, what their wants are. So we have a great base here, but we need to keep it intact. What would happen if we lost Leprino? That'd be terrible. I know they're in the county, but they create a lot of jobs here. We need to continue to have help with those kind of jobs in this community. I work for an employer that we have in Roswell over 200 employees. And what are we doing to help them grow? What are we doing to help the local florists grow? That's what we have to focus on, is not only external growth, but our internal growth.
The third question will go first to Mr. Hildebrand. Do you think city facilities and services are meeting the needs of our community? Should we be charging those who use city facilities to use the facilities?
Well, that's similar to the question you asked earlier of Ward 1 And, you know, as I've knocked doors, you know, again, I will go, nothing is free. You know, there's a cost of doing business, but what is the cost of doing business? Where did that fee structure come from? Was that a magic number just pulled out of the air? Or was there some basis or foundation for it? I don't know whether there was or wasn't. How did those fee structures get put into place? You know, so people are not happy with them. I will tell you that. So I think all of our fee structures need to be revisited and looked at for the benefits of all citizens of this community so that all economic level individuals can enjoy these facilities. I was talking to one family, they said it cost them $40 to go to the zoo. And they said, we can't afford to go out there. That they are limited resources. So again, we need to look at those and revisit those fees so that we have something that's available for everyone. Thank you.
Welcome. Ms. Stubbs?
As a responsible spender, I believe that the first thing we fund are those that protect the health, safety, and well-being of our citizens, like the roads, water, fire department, police department. But there are things that enhance the quality of life, and I think those are critical as well. Like I say, by law, we are required to provide the health, safety, and welfare, but the amenities we have in Roswell are some of our strongest points. I think there's some misconception out there about the fees at the zoo. There's family membership, there are free days, there are senior days, there are a lot of different opportunities to utilize the zoo. And interestingly enough, I want to concentrate on it, and that is that the majority of people that now attend the zoo are out-of-town folks. We're now, because we're charging, we're able to get some data and some information. So it's out-of-town folks that are paying to maintain that zoo, and I think that's really critical. We have only so much in the general fund that comes from gross receipts tax. So either we charge more tax or we charge a fee for these amenities. And so the thing I really have to say that I appreciate about the philosophy is that the users of these amenities are the ones paying for them, not every one of us. If I choose not to go to the zoo for a year, my tax dollar is not going to support it like it typically would have. And I sort of like having that choice most of all.
Thank you. The fourth and final question goes first to Ms. Stubbs.
Thank you.
Okay. To be an effective leader, you must be able to deal with critical people. What do you feel is the best way to handle critical people?
Critical people can be defined in a couple different ways. Critical people can be positive people. How do I handle critical people?
If you've engaged with any.
If what?
Have you engaged with any?
Oh, the clock's ticking and I'm going, I seriously do not know how to answer that question.
Okay.
Can you define critical?
People with opinions that speak up to you.
Oh, I love that. I really do. I am not a person who works by myself and behind closed doors. Part of what I've missed recently on the council is the ability for us to talk to each other, to collaborate. I feel everybody is critical in one way or another, and I think it's totally important for me to get input from as many people as possible. I am not a person who thinks my idea is always right. I really want to hear from everybody out there, whether they're strong opinions, soft opinions. I really do need to hear them. I love to have that conversation because we probably need to convince each other a little bit when it comes to that situation.
Mr. Hildebrand?
Yes.
Yeah, I got that one really easy. So, you know, people being critical of others is okay, as long as what I call not hitting below the belt. You know, if we want to be critical of others, let's play fair and be honest with others. We can have differences of opinions, but we must agree. It's okay We can agree to disagree, but we can agree to listen to each other and learn from each other and build on other people's ideas. You know, in my job every day, I deal with critical people all the time. You know, you think being in the car business that everybody's happy? Ooh, no. You know, some people you could never please, but you have to understand where they're coming from, what they're talking about. And sometimes you just go, I got to give in to you because you're not going to listen to me, and it's okay. And we'll go on and make another day. And I would say this in closing on that, I'm a pretty critical person sometimes too. You ought to listen to me yell at the TV when there's politicians up there that I don't agree about. They don't listen to me, but I do. I'm critical as well because of my strong opinions of how I feel about things. But once I've said my piece, I'm okay.
At this time, I'll allow the candidates to share closing thoughts that they have. You'll have a minute and a half. Mr. Hildebrand, we'll call on you first.
Yep. Again, Rick, I want to thank you for tonight. But as we sit here, I want to ask you these things. Do you know what the city council's plans are for growth? Do you know what they are for road improvements? Do you know what they are for public safety? There is no plan. This city has failed you by not delivering a plan for growth, a plan for our streets, a plan for infrastructure, and a plan for public safety. We need those plans, and you need to know what those plans are. I've lived here for over 35 years, and I've seen no growth in this city at all. You know, we talk about getting to 50,000 people. That's been the talk since I've been here. But what has the city done? Why haven't we got there? Failed leadership. And that leadership needs to change, and it needs to change and start with a strong city council member who has the skill set to do what's right for you. We need a change from the wasteful spending, such as $400,000 spent at that airport for a restaurant. How's those wasted tax dollars working for you? They didn't do anything for me. So how are they working for you? Roswell's my home. It's your home. I'm not a politician. I'm a concerned citizen just like you. With your vote, we can build a better Roswell. I'm asking for your vote. This is not about me. It's about we. Thanks again.
Ms. Stubbs, your closing comments?
Thank you, Mr. Kraft. First, let me explain. When I think of critical, I think of necessary. And so that's what really threw me, and that's not what the question was, so forgive me for that. The city has all those plans. A lot of them are on the city website. Staff is more than happy to share them with you if you would like to see them, and I certainly encourage everyone to come to City Hall and to get copies of those plans because they are all out there. We update them periodically, and I would have to say that every department has some kind of plan for the future. I'm in this race because of the guidance and wisdom that others have given me. I've spent time learning how to face real problems and have successfully dealt with multi-million-dollar budgets. The decisions made by the whole council are only as good as the people we put in these positions, and I have proven over again my ability to get the job done. I believe the city has a responsibility to develop a positive environment that sets the tone to attract new jobs and support existing businesses. God has given me the ability to lead, and my family has allowed me to participate, and Roswell has given me the opportunity to serve. You know what you get when you get me, a strong commitment and the courage to do the right thing, as well as proven consistency. I've never worked for a for-profit business, and I am not beholden to anyone. My professional career taught me governmental accounting and respect for spending taxpayers' dollars. I am a person you all know and a counselor you can trust.
Thank you. Ms. Stubbs, on behalf of the sponsors, those here this evening, those watching on the internet in our community, thank you both for seeking this Ward 3 position, and good luck to both of you.
Thanks, Rick.
We've got 4 candidates here for Ward 4 this evening, so while we set them up, let me talk to you briefly about the Leadership Roswell Alumni Association. It's comprised of the graduates of the Roswell Chamber of Commerce Leadership Roswell program. Besides these forums, the Alumni Association does social leadership training and also supports the Leadership Roswell program. The Alumni Association also does a teen leadership program and an annual awards banquet recognizing leaders in the community. And please bring out the candidates for Elaine. Elaine, go ahead and bring the candidates out for 4. We don't have a break here. The Alumni Association partners with the Institute for a program called Teen Leadership. This year it'll be March 21st and 22nd. It's an awesome program that gives out thousands of dollars of scholarships to the students that participate who are juniors and seniors in high school. If there's someone you think would be good for the program, you can contact Desi Aguilar at the Institute or visit with one of the alumni members this evening. Also, the Alumni Association gives annual awards out each June for outstanding leaders and commitment to youth and lifetime achievement. And at this point, I'm supposed to have candidates up here, so let's get the candidates for Ward 4 out. There's 5 candidates running for Ward number 4. One of the candidates, Alicia Gilmore, when we approached her, as we did the other candidates, and asked her to participate this evening, she said yes and planned to be here, but we found out yesterday because of COVID issues that she can't participate. So the other 4 candidates, we're glad to have them here if we can find their seats.
Hi, Rick.
Hi.
How are you doing? Good to meet you, sir.
You want to take over up here?
Right here.
Yeah. Okay. We should have Robert Korn, Joe Green, Daryl Johnson, and Daniel Lopez. Where's Daniel Lopez? I saw him back here. Daniel Lopez. Okay, come all the way inside here. Okay. So let me introduce you to these 4 candidates that are here this evening. On your left, on my far right, is Robert Korn. He's the friendliest candidate out here this evening. Next to him, on his left, is Joe Green. To my left and your right is Daryl Johnson. And on the far end there is Daniel Lopez, who's the incumbent. We'll allow for 2 minutes for each of the candidates to share their opening comments. Let me call first on Mr. Korn for your opening comments.
Thank you, Rick. Are we on?
Real close.
Okay.
Do you need a pen? Oh, okay.
You know, first thing they teach you in judges school is keep a pen handy.
Okay. You're gonna have to almost swallow that microphone. Get real close, please.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll get up here close and personal. Thank you, Rick. Thank you for your organization. Thank you for all your sponsors. Thank you all for coming tonight. Thank you for the people that are tuned in. I'm Robert Korn. I'm running for City Council, Ward 4. My past experience of community service started in 1980 in the legislature. While there, I learned all about tax policy, and I served 2 years on Appropriations and Finance Committee. Then, thanks to you all, you made me a magistrate judge. While there, I got 2 certificates from the National Judicial College, special court trial skills and alternative dispute resolutions. And then, lo and behold, you gave me an opportunity to be your county commissioner for 8 years, 2 terms. And the first year I was a county commissioner, I got a diploma that says I'm a certified county commissioner. I was born in Roswell. I haven't gone anywhere. I've lived in Ward 4 for my entire life. Well, take that back. Age of 4, we moved from the ranch into the town, and I've been in that district ever since. So, I'm a past president of Rotary. I'm also an elk and a lifetime member of the Roswell Redcoats. So I'll yield back my 15 seconds.
I told them they could not defer to the senator from Virginia this evening if they didn't use their time. So, Mr. Green, your opening comments.
Hi, my name is Joe Green. First and foremost, I want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Thank you to the Roswell alumni. Thank you to all the radio and audience out here and all the social media outlets that are doing. I was born in Roswell, New Mexico, born and raised. I've been married to my wife Suki Green, for over 27 years. Together we raised our 3 children, Ariel, Brian, and Jaron Green, in Roswell, and currently have 1 grandson, Oscar, who we love and adore. He's such a blessing. I graduated from Roswell High and went on to earn an associate's in applied science degree in electronics and computer science at Eastern New Mexico University, Roswell, in 2000. In 1996, I started a small family-owned business, Enchantment Pest Control, LLC. It has been a very successful business for over 25 years. I learned to deal with federal, state, and local government entities that include RFPs, GRTs, and other forms of budgeting through running my business. Currently, I serve as secretary on the board of Telco Credit Union, Roswell, New Mexico. As secretary, I contribute to loans, budgeting, and monthly board meetings. I have been on the board since 2017. I am also a member of ELKS, and I'm a faithful member of Church on the Move, where I've attended and served doing a number of organized community outreaches since 1994. More other active roles in 2014 were running for City Council, Ward 3, where I conceded to 61 votes. Now I'm committed to being on the 2022 Roswell City Council by running again for a redistrict Ward 4 City Council seat. I have a heart and vision for Roswell and care deeply for its strong and family values. All of these accomplishments, I credit God first. I always put God first, and everything else just works better. Thank you.
Mr. Johnson, your opening comments?
My name's Daryl Johnson. I'm running for Ward 4. I guess I want to throw my message out there, and it is, we're taxed enough already here in Roswell with pretty much nothing to show for it. You know, our city, water, all of our property taxes, they're going up. And, you know, I've been talking to a lot of people in my ward lately, and they don't trust our city government anymore. As I walk down my city streets with my dog, which I do pretty much every day, water lines are continuously breaking. Actually, I think the city's got me on a first-name basis. But look at the streets. They're falling apart, cracks, potholes. I mean, we all talk infrastructure, but look, I'm running because I'm serious about infrastructure. You know, these potholes and these ugly cracks, they're sucking the life out of our property values. The sooner we know that and realize it, the sooner we can address it. It's bad. I feel the city's let us down. I mean, there's a lot of people in my ward that's invested a lot of money in their homes, beautiful homes. These streets, they need some drastically improvement, I mean bad. So when I hear you guys, everybody talking about the $61 million baseball field, it's easy for me to side with the voices in my ward. I'm a general business manager and CFO for the New Mexico Department of Transportation. I improve roads for a living, that's what I do. So when you talk about $61 million, we can repave 70 to 100 miles of roads right here in Roswell. You know, police. Let's talk about our police. You know, I heard somebody say earlier they're 6 men short. Well, I tell you what, I think we're about 20 men short. Our city needs more protection. Crime's out of control. We need a plan to get our law enforcement fully staffed. We need to be safe again here in Roswell. I'm serious. We need serious people to handle these serious problems. Thank you.
Mr. Lopez, your opening comments?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for everybody involved for putting this together. I was appointed to City Council Ward 4 seat 6 months ago. So I can't take any credit for all the good things that have happened, and I can't take the fall for all the bad things that happen, okay? What I'm asking for is a chance for me to prove to you what Roswell can do. What I bring is honesty, integrity, dedication, and fortitude. People have asked me, what does fortitude mean? It means I'm not going to back down. I'm not going to back down for any group telling me to vote one way or another because I don't have an agenda, My family's lived here for many generations. I was born in California, don't hold it against me. My parents moved there for work. I moved back, well, they moved back when I was about 2 years old. And I've lived here in Roswell ever since. Graduated Roswell High in 93, class of 17 for the, what do you call it?
Leadership Roswell?
Leadership Roswell, I was going to say Alumni Association, so I got it mixed up earlier. So, and I started my business 16 years ago from scratch, which means I had 0 clients when I started my business, and it took a lot of dedication and sacrifice to get that done, and I'm willing to do that for us. Ward 4, I've lived in Ward 4 for about 20 years, south side of Roswell all my life, and I'm ready to fight for us and get things done. Thank you.
The first question will be asked first of Mr. Korn. If you were a mayor for a day, what would be your passion project? What would be the one thing you wanted to make sure got done while you're in office?
Accountability, Rick. I'm concerned about the accountability of our finances in Roswell. I see on the paper this morning about a problem with the municipal judge and account that he set up, which is the same problem I read about last year. Well, I was on the county commission. We got awards for our accountability at the county. If I were you, a citizen, and I'm telling everybody right now as a citizen, I absolutely think the city of Roswell needs to stand up and get some of these awards for being outstanding in keeping track of their money versus all the other communities in the city of, in New Mexico, in the state of New Mexico. I'm appalled, I'm embarrassed, and you should be too, and you need to stand up and say, tell your county or city councilors and the mayor, let's get after it. You can't do it by yourself. It takes everybody in city government to buy in to making it work. And I yield back my 30 seconds.
That's not possible. Mr. Green, we're not going to give you 30 seconds more.
Okay.
Okay.
So if I was mayor for a day, is that the question? If I was mayor for a day, I would communicate more and be more transparent with the people and with everybody in the city council, and again, with the city management. The communication is the key to keeping everybody on board and on the same page that we need to do together. We need to also be accountable also for our actions, our words, and our attitudes. So if I was mayor for a day, I would love to see this city council and the city management be all together and have one goal in mind, and that's for the betterment of Roswell, New Mexico, not wasteful spending like it has been doing. Thank you.
Mr. Johnson?
Wow, if I was mayor for the day, I don't know, I'd want to give away something free, I guess, but no. No, seriously, it's all about accountability. You know, I would look at all the components of our city government, and I would look at all of them in an aspect of like a report card. I'd want to know where our successes were, where our failures were, you know, and we would build on our successes. We would eliminate our failures, because every component of government needs some kind of transparency to it. And I would want to immediately start to try to build something so everybody at any level, at any given time, could see where we were going, and how the heck we were going to get there, you know? And having a report card, something, and showing somebody's status of our failures and our successes is to me, a component of success in all aspects of life. But I think we just need more of it in government, and I think that's one of the first things I would tackle and look at as my one day in government, is the mayor of Roswell, you know. And I don't know, I'd probably want to look like Kentai with my suit on and flout around a little bit, you know, and I don't know, just the nuance of that, but I know it'd be short-lived, but I don't know, maybe give out a few cigars or something, I don't know. But other than that, man, I got 15 seconds, so I figured I'd throw something in there, but that's probably about it. Thanks.
Okay. Mr. Lopez.
I'd give Mr. Johnson the key to the city and ask for something to help me out, with my campaign, actually. What's important to me, too, economic development is huge, If we could build our economic development, if we could bring jobs here, that'll take care of a lot of our problems. That'll give our citizens choice of employment, competitive wages, which means that they're not going to just be at their job to bring home a paycheck and hate their job. When they come home and hate their job, they're not going to be very happy when they see their family too, So economic development is huge. Economic development is huge. And I guess that's it. I yield my 1 minute.
Okay, the second question goes first to Mr. Green. The city of Roswell provides services such as road and sidewalk maintenance, water, sewage, trash disposal. These are basic necessities for the well-being of Roswell's residents. How good of a job is the city doing with these responsibilities, and what challenges do you see facing our city leadership regarding these issues in the future?
Well, first of all, it hasn't been a good job. And I've walked around and I've talked to my family and friends that are in my community, that are in my ward. And everything keeps echoing on our infrastructure. It's our roads, the wasteful spending, and the need for large and small businesses, and beautifying our city in all residential and park areas. We've been neglecting our roads for far too long. It's like kicking the can down the road. And we haven't done a good job. And as far as the other city councils, I don't know if they've been hearing the same echo at this time, but it needs to be addressed, and it needs to be addressed now. And furthermore, in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, every year needs to be addressed on our roads. It needs to be the top priority in our budget. It needs to be the top priority. Absolutely everything that needs to be done. Stop the wasteful spending. Concentrate on what needs to be done, and we can beautify our city and make more citizens want to be here.
Mr. Johnson?
Could you repeat that, please?
Sure.
I've got most of it, but not all of it.
Okay, the city of Roswell provides services such as road and sidewalk maintenance, water, sewage, and trash disposal. These are basic necessities for the well-being of Roswell's residents. How good of a job is the city doing with these responsibilities, and what challenges do you see facing our city leadership regarding these issues in the future?
Absolutely, yeah. I kind of think I nailed it a little bit on my opening message, but city water lines, they're bad, our roads are bad. It's nice to look up every now and then and see new pavement on my road, but that's only because they had to fix a water line and put a little pavement over the top of it. It's sad, but it's true. And, I wasn't joking a while ago when I said they knew me on a first name basis. They do. It's nothing to walk down the street and see water percolating out of the ground, and I'm like, oh my God, here we go again. And it's just it gets bad, and it's only getting worse. And I'm going to tell you, the sidewalk problem, when I see people walking down Sunset, and I'm referencing the west side, that's my ward. There's no sidewalk. There's no sidewalk from 2nd Street all the way to the very end of the city limits. There's no sidewalk. It's a pathetic joke. And to see some of the sidewalks that we have in town where they're cracked, they're crumbling. And, I'm going to go back to the roads. If you go to the tree streets, I talk to people in my ward, it's a shame. When I see 3-inch vertical potholes, I've driven down some ugly dirt roads before, but those tree streets over there, they're bad. And I know there's a lot of people that are relying on me to help them with those tree streets. And as you get on down there, it gets worse. It's just horrible. Sorry, I just looked over there.
Mr. Lopez.
Can you go ahead and repeat that for me, please?
Sure. The city of Roswell provides services such as road and sidewalk maintenance, water, sewage, and trash disposal. These are basic necessities for the well-being of Roswell residents. How good a job is the city doing with these responsibilities, and what challenges do you see facing our city leadership regarding these issues in the future?
Well, before I was appointed to city council, I didn't think they were doing a very good job at all. Now that I've been there, I see that they are trying. Like I said, I've only been there 6 months, so please don't hate me or praise me for anything that's been going on. But I do see that they're investing more in the water system now. They are trying to make changes, which needs to be done. They're probably 10 years behind. And that's something that we really need to work on and work on now. The city wants us to, or the citizens, to keep the upkeep of our homes, our yards and stuff. If the city would invest back in our streets and our infrastructure, that would help us out and bring back pride in our community. So yeah, we need a lot of work to get done.
Mr. Korn?
Thank you, Rick. You kind of asked a double-headed question there. You mentioned roads, sewer, and water, trash. There's 2 different funds this comes out of. The road fund, first off, you need to understand the basic core that government needs to take care of is your health and safety, which leads to roads. If you need an ambulance, you need the fire department, you need a policeman to come assist you, you need to have good roads to get there. The water department, the trash, and the airport are all, and that's out of general fund, are all out of these enterprise funds. When you pay your water bill to the city, that's what makes the water work. Now, I'll tell you a quick story. We got to do a better job of planning in this community. A couple of years ago, they worked on a stretch of McGaffey from Union to Main Street. They worked on it. The road was closed. They finally got it finished. And I was on the way to the county courthouse election night a couple of years. It seemed like a day or two, may have been a week or two, and had a geyser and had the road cut off again. They just had it all opened up. Why didn't they fix the plumbing while they were there? It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort to plan. And we're not doing it. We're not doing an adequate job.
The third question will go first to Mr. Johnson. With new businesses and new residents of our community coming to town in the months ahead, the demand for housing in Roswell will exceed the supply. What action should the city take to address the shortfall in housing?
Well, I'm a firm believer in the market figuring that out. I don't know if the city should have any dog in that fight. I think, there's a lot of land available. There's a lot of lots available. Part of economic development is figuring out needs and letting the market figure it out. I think first and foremost, if the city gets in the business of trying to buy land, trying to subsidize people to do it, I think that's probably a poor choice. There's a lot of great people in Roswell with a lot of great minds, a lot of entrepreneurs that mean business, and I'm serious, they mean business, and if there's an opportunity to make $1, they're gonna go out there and make it. Give that opportunity to the citizens of Roswell. Don't start subsidizing, don't start giving meal tickets to, contractors coming in. I'm sorry, I'm just not a big fan of that. Businesses, I think first and foremost, we need to promote them. As far as giving subsidies to them, no, but at the same time, make it easier for them, Don't make getting permits hard. Don't make it the biggest obstacle of their whole entrepreneur plan to build a restaurant, going through the government loopholes that they got to go through to get there. So, sorry, I believe in market. I do. That's it.
Mr. Lopez?
I don't think the city should be getting in the business of building homes or land or anything like that. But before I was appointed on city council, I was on the planning and zoning. There was a big project brought up to us, building houses. And I said before, I'm not a big fan of incentives. But when we have a problem, we need to figure something out. We need some change. We need to work and see what is going to work. So I did vote for an incentive for these builders to try and build these homes. Hopefully it's going to work. If it doesn't work, then we know, and we could go from there on those incentive ideas. But also on the building permits, like Mr. Johnson said, I've been a big fan of trying to figure out. I get a lot of complaints from builders saying that it's hard to get. The city is working on streamlining these by getting it to the new building here. But that's broke, and we do need to fix it. We need to figure out if those fees are feasible and what we could do for our smaller builders to help turn these homes faster.
Mr. Corn?
Thank you, Rick. A couple of points I'd like to make. Government should not take a leadership role in this thing. They need to take a supporting position. Let the builders build and help them with the planning and the design and make it easy for them to come into City Hall and get their plans approved so they can go out there and go to work. I don't think that's happening based on talking to some contractors that I know around town, that there seems to be a log jam and stuff of the paperwork down at the City Hall. I don't know what the problem is, but if elected, I'll dadgum sure find out. That's what I do. I do my homework and I pay attention. So on that particular point where you've got lots of private enterprise out there, government needs to take a support role. Government has two appetites. One, take your money. Two, control you. And that's wrong. You, the voters, need to control the government, and you need to decide how much of your money they need to get. I yield back my 15 seconds.
You've set a record this evening for yielding your time. Mr. Green.
Could you repeat that question one more time?
Sure. With new businesses and new residents of our community coming to town in the months ahead, the demand for housing in Roswell will exceed the supply. What action should the city take to address the shortfall in housing?
Yes, well, if we get our new businesses with the ease of restrictions that go on, then I think we can get our businesses built better. Also, I thought that we were having about 800 new homes coming in for new residents. I don't know what that plan is, but we need to have a strategic plan and follow that with a vision, and keep having goals that are met with a timely manner, so that these businesses can move on and build the right residential areas without all these restrictions. I too have had a contractor contact me and said, you know, I'm going to another meeting at the city council for their ordinances that they keep passing. They don't understand about how we build things and what we can do to move around that and make it more easier. They keep coming up with new restriction, new ordinances that keep us backlogged, so that we don't have the time to finish that home or that business. And first of all, I'm proud of our businesses here. I'm proud of our small businesses here. I think that's what keeps Roswell running. We're a service industry here. We don't depend on oil. We don't depend on other things. We built ourselves through small businesses with the community. We know how to do it, and we can do it. And I thank you very much I yield back my 15 seconds.
We're going to have a conversation about this before we do our next forum.
Well, you started.
Okay, the fourth and final question will go to Mr. Lopez. If you could have dinner with just one person, living or dead, who would it be and why?
Well, I would have to say my mom. Sorry. She raised 6 of us, I believe, if I could count right, by herself. Single mom, 2 or 3 jobs to keep us fed and pay the bills. and she's the one that taught me how to be compassionate. She's the one that taught me how to fight for what I want and to work hard to get it. And you know, it's you can't learn that in school. You can't read about it and go to whatever to learn that. Anyway, what I'm saying is I'd like to talk to her one more time to have her remind me to work harder for our citizens. That way they don't have to work 2 jobs. I got a minute. I'm not yelling yet. So,
You want to defer like everybody else?
now, anyway, yes, she was my rock as a kid, and she was our whole family's rock, and for that reason, I'd have to choose her.
Mr. Korn?
Read the question one more time.
Sure. If you could have dinner with just one person, living or dead, who would it be and why?
My wife that's been dead 3.5 years because I miss her a lot. I yield back my time.
Okay. Mr. Green?
If I can have dinner with one person, living or dead, I would have to say my mom as well. She passed away a while back, and I didn't get to have that final dinner with her. They called me in the middle of the night and told me that she had passed away at a nursing home. And it was just devastating. So if I can have that last dinner, it would be with my mom also. And I know how deeply and dearly our moms are to us. And that as well, I think all the people who have lost their moms and family members would like to have that last dinner with them and tell them how great they were and tell them what they thought of them, that they meant the world to them, even though they didn't show it all the time. But we still harness that. You know, I didn't grow up perfect. I don't think anything did. And I respect my mom for what she did and how she tried. And it's heartbreaking when you lose a mom. It's something special to you. And we just need to move forward and move on. Thank you.
And Mr. Johnson?
Well, you know, it's going to have to be my dad, too. I can't go with any icon after listening to these guys here, you know. My dad was stellar. You know, he taught me sports at a young age. Hard knocks. He was a heck of a man. I learned the hard way a lot of things in life, and we argued a lot, never agreed on politics at all. And, you know, I could see you said lunch. I was thinking, my God, we're going to argue the whole time. But, you know, it would be a great moment to have. You know, he taught me ethics, to love God, and who I am today. So I would love one more day with him. It'd be great.
Okay, at this time, we'll allow each of the candidates the opportunity to share closing comments. Mr. Korn, your closing thoughts.
I started this mess. Thought you said you alternated.
Well, we just finished with Mr. Lopez with the last question,
All right.
so
I'm ready.
we go alphabetical for the closings.
Okay. Thank you all for listening to this for now 4 times, and you still got one more Ward 5 city councilor and the mayor candidates coming on. But what I think you've heard is a theme of change, except those that currently hold the office. So, this is my challenge to you, the voters. If you want change, then in this particular race, you've got 4. One's out because of COVID to choose from. Good luck. That's hard to do. If you want the status quo, then you vote for the gentleman way down on the end. He's part of it. All the incumbents are part of the problems that we have. And I challenge you to first make a decision, do you like the status quo? That makes it easy. If you want to see some good, positive change, then you got to vote for somebody else. And good luck with that, because we got a lot of people running in Ward 4. Thank you all. Enjoyed it. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, all your sponsors. I see the Roswell Daily Record here. I didn't see where you were a sponsor this time, but and the radio station. Mike does a good job. Appreciate you, Mike.
And sir, you've set a record for deferred time in one forum.
Huh?
You've set a record for deferring time this evening, which has never occurred before. So,
sorry.
Yeah, Mr. Green, your closing thoughts. Okay.
Well, thank y'all again for having me this evening. To all the audience, the radio, and all the social media outlets. As I was preparing for this moment last night, the word excellence came to me. So I looked it up. And the definitions for excellence is an excellent or valuable quality. You know, we are all created by God to live and manifest in excellence in every aspect of life, because God is an embodiment of excellence. Hence, we are all created in his own image and likeness. I believe in Roswell. I believe in Roswell's excellence. We are all called to be excellent in everything we do. And if we as citizens of Roswell believe this, we can achieve unimaginable results for a clean and safe city, a business-friendly city for small and large businesses, a growing city with plenty of opportunity for all citizens of Roswell. We are seen by where we are seen by other towns as an excellent city where great things are happening. Where loving, careful, joyful citizens take pride in their city, where the people of Roswell are as one, not divided, but united. With opportunity and prosperity for all who live in Roswell, providing a sustainable revenue to create jobs, attracting entrepreneurs, stakeholders, visitors, highly skilled workers, new residents, and students, a city we call home, and make it excel better than it's ever been before for our future generations. We believe in God's excellence for our city. We believe in excellence for our citizens. My name is Joe Green, and I'm asking for your vote for City Council Ward 4. God bless all our excellent citizens of Roswell. Thank you.
Mr. Johnson?
Well, listen, I didn't write it a closing speech, but I'm going to tell you guys, I was born in Roswell. I've seen a lot go on here in this town. Played sports. Sports is near and dear to me. I love baseball fields. I'm not totally against baseball fields. I love baseball fields. I love kids. And I love this great city. And this city is just needing help worse than I've ever seen it before in my life. And there's no way I can walk out of this city and leave it the way, I got to leave it the way I found it, or if not better. And you know, my job right now is at the DOT, I started in quality. And one of my biggest goals is I wanted to be the district administrator, and because I saw so much government waste there, and I said, man, if I was ever in charge, this is what I want to do. If I was ever in charge, this is what I want to do. Well, you know, that I cleaned up so much messes there. I became popular real quick. Now I'm the general business manager. I've been in that position for about 10 years now, close to 11. And listen, that's what I do. I clean up waste, and there's a lot going on in the city of Roswell right now. And I need your vote. We need somebody in there that's going to go in there, clean up waste, improve our streets. And, you know, we talk infrastructure. Well, look, it's time to put the rubber to the road. And listen, pun intended. It's time. Like I said, Roswell's got a lot of potential. Let's make Roswell the best it could be. Vote for me for Ward 4. Thank you.
Mr. Lopez, your closing comments.
As I said before, I was appointed 6 months ago. So the good, the bad, and the ugly before 6 months ago, I had nothing to do with. I'm tired of being stagnant here in Roswell, and I feel a lot of you are too. And the ones that don't, that want to stay stagnant, that's your guy. The one up there in the corner. you know. So with that being said, I want you guys to go back for a little bit in time. Go back to when you were a little kid. And I'm talking a little kid when you got your first pair of shoes. I'm gonna give you a couple seconds to go back. I only got a minute. Okay. So you remember that feeling you got when you put those new shoes on? Like nobody could beat you. You could take anybody on in a race, right? I want to be that guy. I want to be the pair of shoes for you, for Ward 4, and for Roswell. I want to run that race to the future, not stay in the past or go back. Take steps forward, not backward. I want you to vote for progress. Vote Lopez. Thank you.
Well, on behalf of those here this evening, those watching on the internet, and the sponsors, we appreciate the four of you coming out and participating in the candidates forum this evening. We appreciate your commitment to our community by seeking the City Council Ward 4 position. Good luck to each of you.
Thank you.
And stay put for just a second. We've got the candidate running for Ward 5, Angela Moore. Her position is uncontested, but we still would like to give her the chance to share some words with you. So, Ms. Moore.
I really don't need the mic. My name is...
And you can't defer your time.
My name is Angela Moore, and I am a lifelong resident of Roswell. 23 years of teaching in the RISD. I am a Christian and I'm proud to be. I've been in the same church for 35 years. I am loyal, honest, respectable, and committed. I love Roswell. I love my family. I have a master's in education, a bachelor's in business, a bachelor's in management, and a bachelor's in administration. I am not a politician, and that's what I said when I ran last year. I am a public servant. I'm a proud citizen of Roswell. And as I spoke before, I said I continue to find my vote for, as most you all know, when I first started, I was very quiet, believe it or not, shy, quiet, timid, not me. Anyway, that was me. And so I continue to find my voice. And so as I thought about today, I thought about voice. I vote my heart with conviction. I am 1 out of 10 when we vote, but I want to make my one vote count. I ask you to vote yours on March 1st. Opportunity to give back by voting, by showing up, and being thoughtful of each other. Intelligently communicate. When we disagree, and that happens often, believe it or not, and when we disagree, we communicate. When I actively listen, I try to make it, I say all the time, we can always disagree, but we should never be disrespectful. Community is important to me. Our young people, our business, the reduction in crime is important, and thriving as a city. E, effective council members. I am reasonable, respectful, responsible, and ever learning. We never know it all, no matter what you think. I was a Girl Scout, believe it or not, a long time ago. And I said that to say this. It was one of the traits we learned as Girl Scouts, is always leave things better than you found them. And that's how I want to leave Roswell, better than I found it. And I've been here my whole life. As voting draws near, find your voice. Just be sure to vote. Thank you, leadership, alumni, and thank you, Roswell.
Yeah. We appreciate your service and committing to the next 4 years. At this time, we're going to take a short 10-minute break, and we'll come back and finish the evening with the candidates for the mayoral position. I think there's snacks out front. There's the final raffle tickets, too. We'll see you back shortly. Good job. We got this time difference.
Very, very well. Sorry. I was trying to catch a wandering horn. Sorry. I'm sorry it kind of slowed up there. I couldn't catch a horn and get him back over there.
Yeah, no, what I was
But
trying
everything was good. You need more water?
Okay, if you can find your way back to your seats, please, for the last session. We'll be started in just a few minutes.
You think the count was around 190, 200, something
Okay,
there?
about 200.
About 200.
And he can get a count for people on the air there. Okay, so I'm going to read some announcements and then, about the voting.
Yeah, and Todd said he would come down at the end of break.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Okay. Tim, we got you on the end here? Yeah, we changed it because they wanted to do the three mic thing.
So we're left it that way.
They decided to.
Anything to confuse.
How are you? Hi, very well.
I've met you in years past, but that's okay.
I'm sorry about getting you.
Oh, Hamilton matters.
I like the Hamilton play, so I guess I got carried away with it.
You know, it wasn't an insult when I saw that.
Yeah. I'm going to do about 3 or 4 minutes of information. And then I'll kick it over. Okay. 7 questions. Now wait a minute. Okay, J, K, we got it right. Okay. I was going to say we have alphabetical. Huh? Yeah. If we had Eva, we would put you at 2 different tables. I figure with 3 people, we can sit you all together. 2 minutes. You okay? Okay. Okay, welcome back from the break. It's kind of like the football games where you got to wait for the person to raise their arm in the corner of the end zone before you can start. And Mr. Winters says we're ready to go. Early voting began today. You can vote early at City Hall at 425 North Richardson. Beginning February 14th, you can also vote early at the Chaffetz County Administrative Offices at number 1 St. Mary's Place. You can vote Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. for your early voting, and on Saturdays from 10 to 6. The only day that these voting places are not open is on President's Day on Monday, February 21st. Early voting will end on Saturday, February 26th. On Election Day, which is Tuesday, March 1st, you can vote at any one of 6 locations. Boys and Girls Club, St. Mark's Lutheran, West Country Club, Church of Christ, Waymaker Church, Chaffetz County Administration Building, or NMUR. The election day voting will be from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. I've been told by the city that if you need a ride to the voting location, that the Roswell Transit will give you a free ride. If you need to get an absentee ballot, you can call City Hall 624-6700. They're very helpful there. Sharon Call and her team will make sure you get your question answered. She also told me, and I went ahead and logged on, I didn't know this until last week, that the Secretary of State for New Mexico, on that website, which is state.nm.us, if you log onto that, that will tell you what ward you're in. It'll also tell you your voting history. You can see what elections you voted in historically. So good information for that. On my left is the president of the Leadership Roswell Alumni Association, Todd Versiglio. He is going to draw someone's name, or I will, and somebody's going to win the New Mexico state flag. Okay, I've got a number but no name, so we'll see how this works. If your number is 381394, 381394, anybody have that number? 381394. Going once? Going twice?
Oh, there we are. In the back.
In the back?
Coming down the...
Who is that? Is that Damon? You have it? Congratulations, Damon Graham. Get out front there. Okay, we're going to finish this evening with the candidates running for the mayor position. There are 4 candidates running in this race. One candidate, Eva Tejas, declined participating in the forum for health reasons. But let me introduce to you the 3 candidates that are participating this evening. On my immediate left, at the right of the panel, is Timothy Jennings. To his left is Dennis Kintai, the incumbent, and to his left is Guy Malone. The mayoral candidates will be given a little bit more time, 3 minutes for their opening comments, and they'll be given 7 questions instead of 4. So let me refer first to Mr. Jennings for your opening comments.
Well, thank you, Leadership Roswell. This is one of the first times I've spoke to you here. I spoke to your groups many a time in Santa Fe, and it's nice to be home. When you come to Santa Fe, I used to always meet with your groups, and it was very educational for me to hear your opinions, and hopefully for you to hear how legislature works in Santa Fe. Thanks all the people at home watching and everybody who came out tonight for such a long time. You know, when you look, I'm a lifelong resident in Roswell. I went to St. Peter's School. In the early years, I went to Yucca School. Then I went to the Military Institute and graduated. I attended New Mexico State and graduated. Then after that from Creighton University in Omaha. I'm a rancher by trade. I do have some agricultural businesses here and in Las Cruces, and I've been elected. I started at the age of 24 on the Chaves County Commission. I spent 2 terms there. I then was elected to the state senate, and I was after the county commission in the state senate, and I went to the highest position in the state senate. I had every position there except minority floor leader, and I ended up the pro tem of the New Mexico State Senate. After I retired from there, I came back and I was asked to join the Roswell Chaves County Economic Forum, and I went to that, and we had some real success there, and it was really good to have a lot of local businesses that are there to improve Roswell and looking about ways to improve Roswell and to look for jobs here. I have a proven record. I know how to work well with others. In my leadership in the Senate, we work together with the Republican and Democrat side of the aisle, and that's exactly the way you have to be in the Senate. In the Senate, how you need to be, and how we need to be in our council. Our council, if you go to a council meeting, they're a little tough sometimes to watch. I have a proven record of working well with others. I'm also a member of the State Investment Council, and I'm also the Chaves County Flood Commissioner. When we had a 100-year storm, it's pretty hard to stop the water when you have a 100-year storm without gates on the dams that we have outside of town. And with that, thank you all for coming, and I look forward to this evening's show.
Mr. Kintai, your opening comments?
Thank you, Leadership Roswell alumni, of which I am one. I used to work on some of these. This is a great program, and I appreciate the participation. I'm going to start off by saying thank you to an incredibly gracious lady sitting out there in the audience who has been with me through tremendous adventures, good and bad. And tonight is harder on her than anyone here can imagine. I'm not from Roswell. I wasn't born here. I didn't grow up here. I was 40 years old when the FBI brought me here. I'm a veteran. When I was 24, I was in the U.S. Air Force. When I got here, I worked primarily dope. I was the narc. I worked in this town, and I've seen things that not many in this room have seen. There's a few. I know what the ugliness is, and I know what law enforcement is. In fact, I'm the only one on this stage tonight who has carried a badge and a gun in this town and dealt firsthand with the problems we have. And there is a crime problem in this state, and it's due to the failures of the legislature and the governors in Santa Fe. We have incredibly weak laws, and it makes it hard for the men and women that serve in our law enforcement here. Roswell Police Department is one of the finest in this state, if not the nation. I'll repeat that, and I'll stand by it. These are great and professional young men and young women who deal with difficulties that most of you cannot imagine. They're led by a chief that just got a PhD. We were one of the first law enforcements to go with video cameras, lapel cameras as they're known. I'm proud of them. I'm proud of the city staff because we have been embracing change from day one. We've heard about that, change, but we've actually been doing it. How many remember the old Yucca? The derelict terminal building at the old municipal airport that sat there for decades. The Green Lantern that was on Main Street without a roof for 30 years? We've worked hard to clean this up, and in the process, we've ruffled some feathers. Don't mean to, but not afraid of it either. We want to protect the progress we've made, protect the team we've built, protect the future of Roswell, make it better. Thank you.
Mr. Malone, your opening comments?
Thank you also, Leadership Roswell and alumni, for having me here and for hosting this for all of our benefit. And thank you, more importantly, the citizens for showing up. You're more important, one of you is more important than all three of us put together. I also am not from Roswell. I chose Roswell. I love Roswell. And of course, it's hard to share in just these couple moments everything that I would consider a talking point or something that I'm passionate about or why I feel that I'm called to run for the mayor of Roswell. But mainly when I look over my own platform, I realized the common thread is there's this overarching curse or sense of poverty about Roswell. It's a mindset that I feel that needs to be broken. And on my website, I feel I've suggested 3 or 4 possible paths of alleviating this and potential new revenue for the city of Roswell to come in. Now, for those of y'all that think I'm AWOL from Cattle Baron, by the way, you haven't seen me in a couple of years, sorry about that, but I've earned certifications in Bitcoin and digital currencies in the last couple of years. That is my full-time form of income now as an editor for Bitcoin Magazine. So it's an industry that I'm intimately involved with. And for those that would not know, don't worry if you don't think you understand Bitcoin. I don't understand how a microwave oven works, and I don't need to in order to make it work for me. But the same thing is with my work. I'm aware that the Navajo Nation just north of us has brought in Bitcoin mining facilities, and they have raised millions of dollars this year alone to alleviate the poverty in their area. And also west of us, 4 hours, the largest Bitcoin mining facility in the world is being built in Texas right now because they know it brings in literally millions of dollars to the economy. It's a new economy. You may have seen my catchphrase that I'm not looking to 1947 to secure the future economy of Roswell. I'm looking to the 21st century to secure the economy of Roswell. And I think one of my other points that you know me very well for, I feel that we are actually underestimating and underselling ourselves when believing that aliens is the only reason for people to come to Roswell. My website, I list a couple plans for promoting the performing arts centers we have here, like the Way Off Broadway, Roswell Little Theater that I'm part of, the Symphony. I believe that that could bring in recurring tourism, people that might come to Roswell 2, 3, 4 times a year rather than once a year, just if they get hooked on something that they find here. More of that on my website, but also the state has not been kind to us for many decades now. Central to one of my campaign points, I feel that beginning a secession movement with a few of southeastern New Mexican counties to leave the state of New Mexico and possibly join Texas is the best way to have our values represented and our views as taxpayers, and the business owners would love to not have to deal with GRT taxes, I'll tell you that, taxes. Time's up.
The first question will be asked first of Mr. Jennings. If you were forced to cut the city's budget 10%, what would you cut and what would you make sure is not cut?
One of the things I would not cut is the law enforcement and public safety. I think we have to have those functions in government to ensure that we can continue to function at all. And I think if you start looking after losing after losing something, if you had to cut something, I think you'd probably have to look at some of the extra programs that you have out in some of the areas in parks and some of those things, what you can in that, because I think by the time you maintain your police and infrastructure, there's not going to be that much left to deal with.
Mr. Kintai?
This is something we actually had to go through. 2016, there is a significant drop in our gross receipts tax. Last year, when the governor shut us down, we went through a big cutback. 80% of the city budget is personnel. 80%. What we did last time was we offered buyouts and early retirements. Now that required an upfront cost, but it saved us long term. And it was not pleasant, it was a fair and reasonable way to deal with the fundamental problem of how do you let people go. Nobody got furloughed, nobody got fired. Some good people left and some people that went on to other things. But that's how you do it. The other thing we did is we deferred projects that had not yet been started, not ones that were ongoing, but ones that were not yet ready to start. Budget cuts are unpleasant. We've done them, we've handled them professionally, and I'm very proud of the staff that's done this.
Mr. Malone?
Excellent answer, sir. I'd like to formally request...
And Ms. Malone, yeah, lean forward, or make sure you get that microphone, please.
I'd like to request a police escort to my car after this question, please.
Okay.
It's one of my talking points. 10% is not enough. Let's go 25 or 30%. I think anybody in Roswell, New Mexico, anything regionally appropriate, an amazing take-home salary is $60,000 or $75,000 a year. Nobody in this room would be unhappy with that salary. I won't say nobody because there are one or two. We have city positions. He said 80%, he knows the numbers, of our expenses is going to those positions. I don't think we need $100,000, $125,000, or $175,000 salaries at the city level. $60,000, $75,000, $80,000 depending. There's a lot of local people that want your job, is what I'm saying, and that they've gone to school as well, and they plan on living here forever. So they want to make Roswell better, and I think we could stop charging for these things that people are mad about if we reduced our expenses.
The second question to the mayoral candidates is a specific question to each of the candidates. As I indicated before the evening started, none of them know the questions ahead of time, but these are going to be 3 separate questions that the committee has asked me to ask these candidates. Mr. Kintai, we'll start with you. You have served our community for 2 terms. You've had 8 years to impact our city. Haven't you had enough time to accomplish what you need to, and why do you need a 3rd term?
I touched on this briefly. The 3rd term is to protect the progress, the movement that we've gone forward in this community. Because there are forces and there are people who are not happy that Roswell's not what it was 20 years ago. The good old boys don't want the change because they've seen the young people coming into this town making this a better place. And the classic example is the controversy battle we had over the Yucca, the Cahoon Park pool, and then building the state-of-the-art recreation and aquatic center. That was a knockdown, drag-out battle. We need to continue to improve. We need to keep on doing the things that make this a better community. But in so doing, we're going to challenge some long-held beliefs. We've got a team here that is first rate, and I disagree. You're not going to get a certified civil engineer as the city engineer for $80,000 a year. It isn't going to happen.
Mr. Malone, tourism brings a significant amount of revenue into our community. You have been quoted in an interview with KOB4 as saying our city needs to shift away from marketing itself as the site of the 1947 UFO crash. With the loss of Hike It, Spike It, and if we shift away from marketing the UFO crash, how do we replace the significant sum of tourism revenue for our community?
I'm a big advocate of the tourism revenue that we bring in. I've mentioned earlier that I think rather than a once-a-year event, that if we were smartly advertising the perennials, like the symphony, way off Broadway, theater, even the museums that have 3 or 4 events per year, we've got a drive time market that would still need a hotel. They would still need meals. I'm not in favor at all of, to be specific, I would say, I believe that the city as a corporate entity needs to be out of the UFO Festival. It started as a grassroots event by the UFO Museum and interested businesses in 1996. The city didn't even get involved until 2006, and I was on that committee. I remember why they got involved, the reasons were good, but I think that it should be privatized. As businesses, the UFO Museum, I am #Team Main Street Roswell on that specific issue. We have volunteers that are used to running the UFO Festival, and they do a great job. I don't think it's the job of a city employee to be a part-time events management personnel or t-shirt sales. There are vendors, businesses downtown that sell t-shirts for a living, and I don't think that the visitor center should be competing with them. These are business owners that the city is literally offering products to take money out of people's hands to get revenue. And like I said, I think we have a spending problem, not a revenue problem, but don't take the money from the business owners by being their competition.
Okay. Mr. Jennings, you've been very active in the past as a leader statewide in a political party. Can you put your partisanship aside and be an effective mayor in a nonpartisan position to best serve our city?
You know, I have never fit very well in the Democratic Party, and I don't know that I'd fit very well in the Republican Party. I'm a very conservative individual, but I believe in sitting down and figuring out how to do things and get the job done. And I've done that in the past in the Senate, and I worked with both sides of the aisle to do that. I worked with Senator Engel and Senator Sanchez. I worked with all of them. And we put together in the Senate, and it's a testimony, I think, to what we did in the Senate when I was the pro tem. We sat there and we worked the budgets. We worked budgets for the Governor Martinez. We did them. We worked on both sides of the aisle for Governor Richardson as well. Both sides of the aisle. We put the budget together in the New Mexico State Senate, and we did it by working together. And if you can sit there and look and you go in there, Senator Engel had 2 people in that room working on the budget. I had one, John Arthur Smith had one, and Michael Sanchez had one. and we put partisanship aside and go look at the budgets in the New Mexico Senate. I have no problems at all looking at the budgets that we put together in the Senate and how well they worked for this state and kept us on a pretty even keel. And it's not the far extremes you see right now in the legislature.
The third question we'll ask first of Mr. Kintai. The rest of the questions will be the same questions to each of the candidates, so you'll be the first to answer this question. Okay. COVID has changed our world in the last 2 years from the national level down to our local level. It often seems that Santa Fe is dictating rules for how our community should handle COVID protocol. As a leader of our community, how much of how we handle COVID issues should be determined by those outside our community?
None. As mayor, in front of this whole city at the beginning of city council meetings in August, September, and again in November, I publicly stated that no city employee would lose their job because they weren't vaccinated. No city employee would be denied working because they don't wear a mask. Most importantly, none of the citizens of this community would be denied service because A, you didn't have the vaccine or you weren't wearing a mask. If you want to wear a mask, okay. If you want to get the vaccine, okay. I've gotten the vaccine. I've gotten the booster. Not everybody in my family agrees with that. That's okay. I will fight to protect this town from the overreach of this governor. I've stood up. That's what I've done. I'm not making a promise. I'm offering evidence. This is how I work.
Mr. Malone?
Repeat it one more time for me, please.
Sure. COVID has changed our world in the last 2 years from the national level down to our local level. It often seems that Santa Fe is dictating rules for how our community should handle COVID protocol. As a leader of our community, how much of how we handle COVID issues should be determined by those outside our community?
I also agree none. I don't think that COVID or the pandemic is the correct way to say our communities and businesses have been destroyed. Lockdowns have destroyed our businesses and communities. The government response to COVID and the pandemics is what has destroyed us. And I've mentioned that I do lean towards secession in the sense that Texas is more free, Florida is more free. I think Roswell, we're at that crossroads for our identity right now. We're either going to become more like California or we're going to become more like Texas or Florida. You can choose how quickly or slowly you want that to happen with present company. But I say that no, we should be a sanctuary city. No, I love what you've done for the city employees. I applaud you. And for standing up, it's not enough. We're not free yet. The city employees don't have to wear it. What about the teachers? What about everybody that's an employee in this room right now? What do you have to do when you go to work? No. I believe that Roswell should be a constitutional city, and that what the Constitution says trumps, sorry to use that word, trumps any mandate or any law that is not constitutional. So I would say that nobody, teacher, student, employee, or city employee, should be required to wear a mask or have a jab to get a job or to keep it, and that we can attract a lot of remote workers that have been fired nationwide if we take that stand publicly.
Mr. Jennings?
You know, this COVID was a new thing for us, and a new disease, and it was out there. I think there was a lot of questions about what to do when it started. I think we have to make sure, whatever we do, that we make sure that our hospitals are open and we have hospital care for any individual who needs it, whether it's COVID or whatever disease it is. I would tell you, I don't support mask mandates, and I would tell you, early on, I think nobody knew how to react to COVID, and I think a lot of people were scared. And I think as we've gone through this, we've seen that COVID is something that we have to deal with. It's going to be here. But besides after Omicron, there'll be another virus that comes up just like it, and we have to learn how to deal with COVID. and that's where we should be. I don't think we need mask mandates or anything else now. I would just tell you, I think that we have to always make sure that when you're looking and managing healthcare situations, that you have to make sure that you have room in your hospitals for the other people that have a car wreck or anything else. You have to make every way available to make sure that your hospitals can serve all the people in your community that have a heart attack or a stroke or COVID or whatever they have. You have to come up with those kind of methods and see what happens to get there. And I think we have to work on that. Thank you.
Okay, the fourth question will go first to Mr. Malone. Our community's homeless problem seems to be getting worse as time passes. What action do you think the city should take in resolving this issue?
I think a lot of social problems and social issues are not the business of the government to either handle or to interfere in. Homelessness is a problem that 100 years ago, before the takeover of America by the federal government, homelessness is hungry people, those out of work. The church took care of those people. And then they also, as the scripture says, if a man does not work, he does not eat. I will feed you, but I will also give you a hand up. I may give you a job. I may do some rehabilitation. I'm not opposed to the city helping or supporting. I think there are city and federal tax breaks that apply to a lot of social organizations that are doing local good. But again, local problems require local solutions, as has been hinted at already. I would support the city that would help other organizations in any way to work with that program, whether it is money or whether it is feeding people or whether it is providing housing even. But I don't think it is necessarily a taxpayer issue. We should be charitable, we should love our neighbors, but if you want to help the homeless, really, if you want to help homeless people in Roswell be fed and be clothed, you should support your local church who is reaching out, and also Harvest, of course, downtown. I'll leave it at Harvest, actually. They're doing it great. Everybody get behind what Harvest is doing, and it won't be a problem.
Mr. Jennings?
You know, the homeless people in New Mexico and in Roswell, the homeless people, we have a lot of mental illness problems and need to be addressed in our communities. And when you see those individuals, they have a lot more issues than just not being within a home and getting access to, when we had some issues here in New Mexico where we lost our counseling associates, and which was doing a pretty good job of helping a lot of people on their meds, staying on their meds, and keeping our homeless population down. And that's gone away now, and we have to figure out some way to address it. Those individuals are sleeping in every building in town, and you have to look, you know, you can go up on top in the petroleum building and look, and there's windows broken out where people have crawled in, and they've taken all kinds of pipes and everything else out of there to sell. And I mean, but it's all over town. They're in every, but over in the doctor's offices on Union and 2nd Street, go over there and look. They're sitting right in there, and they go in there and they build a fire in between the walkways between the two buildings and that are back there. They're everywhere. We have to really get everyone together in our community to work together, churches and everybody, to help them feed and see what we can do, including mostly mental health issues need to be addressed.
Mr. Kintai.
This is fundamentally a behavioral health, mental health issue with drug addiction mixed in. And as a result, it is one of the most challenging and difficult issues we've got. 3 years ago, we had a big forum in the convention center about the homeless. We had like 80 people show up. And there were some proposals that were put forward about expanding the areas that would be used as a tent city or improved shelters. And it floundered because not my backyard. That's what we heard over and over again. Not my neighborhood, not within a mile of my place. And I get it. I understand it. How do we deal with this? This is not a Roswell problem. This is once again a state problem. But here in the city, we will not allow camping on public property. Sorry, it's not going to happen. We've cleared out Berendo Creek. That is not a safe place for somebody to camp. I've seen that flood firsthand, 2013. We need people to be in some type of treatment program, and that's where our state agencies have fallen short over and over and over again. The problem from Santa Fe has been the failure to serve this community, this state.
The fifth question will go first to Mr. Jennings. Are we doing enough to promote economic development in our community? And are we spending our city funds effectively on economic development?
My answer to that is we are not being effective with our economic development when you look at it in our community. And when I looked together and we sat down and we worked with the Roswell and Roswell Economic and Chaves County Economic group that got together, we came up with some plans and some designs to come up with, to do improvements on the south and the east side of that, of the east and the south side of the air base, and to put in some infrastructure in there. First thing we did, we got a plan for the city for the water to sewer. It was a $2 million estimate. Then it turned around, and before that, it grew to $6 million to do the same thing the city engineer said we could do for two. We can do that stuff, but we have to plan big and not just sit here and look. If we put that infrastructure in, they could come in there and we could put 1, 2, 3, 4 or more hangars out there at the base to do airplane maintenance. We could do all that and be up and running in a year if we had the infrastructure in up front. And we've not found nothing but having but people fighting us in the city. The county commission, all 5 Republicans on there voted to do it and to ask the governor for that money. We got the money from the governor, and it was very helpful. It could have been very helpful. Had to use most of it because of the estimates from the repair work from the city, but most of it we've used here, and it was a good, well-deserved money. We needed it, and that's what gave us a cent.
Mr. Kenta.
We need to do a better and smarter job. Economic development in the rural areas is primarily either agriculture, tourism, or extraction. We are a rural area. However, we do have one additional attribute, and that's aviation. That air center was a cornerstone of my effort to campaign in 2014. You want to go back and find some old campaign literature? It's there. We never heard from anyone else in the years before that, but now all of a sudden everybody's an expert. Rather than building pipelines to nowhere, we need to wisely invest in the infrastructure along Earl Cummings Loop. We will be building a large hangar. For the first time, this city will have a new large hangar at the Air Center. That is a project that's been worked on by this staff that's brought to fruition. But it was made unnecessarily complicated by having the funding not come to the city, which operates exclusively the Air Center. It goes to the county commission, who has no involvement with the Air Center. Why did the governor do this? Why did the governor want to mess with Roswell? Well, she doesn't like us. And that's probably not going to change.
Mr. Malone?
Question one more time for me.
Sure. Are we doing enough to promote economic development in our community, and are we spending our city funds effectively on economic development?
I think you gentlemen and those on your board, Chaves County Economic, are doing a bang-up job, actually. ChavesCounty.net, if you got people aren't aware, you should check out the site and see what the effort of bringing businesses to Roswell and to Chaves County is going on. I do think we are doing an effective job on outreach and what we can offer to businesses when they come. The problem is not the city of Roswell. The problem is not Chaves County. The problem is the state. You ask anybody that has tried to get a business to come here, when their lawyers, when their corporate start looking at it, it's like you got gross receipts tax, you got personal income tax, I'm just saying, Texas has neither one of those things. So again, I lean towards that is one possible answer. I would definitely want to keep working on tourism and things like that to keep money flowing in here. But second part of the question?
Are we spending our city funds effectively on economic development?
I'm not sure. My answer to that is always, we don't have a spending problem, or we don't have a revenue problem, we have a spending problem. I think there are things that can be cut or streamlined. I'll leave it at that, and then my leadership style is actually to consult with people that are a lot smarter with me when I'm in a tough question, kind of like you see on Star Trek when he goes around the room, opinions, experts, like that. So I would listen to a lot of people that have a lot more experience and are smarter than me in some of those areas before I would actually weigh in my opinion.
Okay, the sixth question will go first to Mr. Kintai. Our country is living in a time of great division. How would you work to bring the community together to develop a culture of unity?
Well, we bring out the unicorns and the rainbows. Let's be honest. It was already alluded to. The city council is 10 councilors. If you've ever watched any of those meetings, trust me, they are every bit as contentious as they appear. But is that a bad thing? Wait a minute, I'm serious. Is that a bad thing? We have a city council that truly represents the whole spectrum of this city. And there's the battles. But out of those battles can come good, prudent action. If we do it respectfully, and Councilor Moore raised that point, I'm thrilled at the number of people who have stepped up to run for council this time. I'm jealous of Councilor Moore for lots of reasons. But we don't need to be monochromatic or monotonal. Let's don't be afraid of candid, tough discussions. Keep it respectful. Don't get ugly and personal. But let's air these things out. You don't like something I'm doing? I've had people tell me that to my face, and I've listened. Doesn't mean I always mind, but I listen. Let's talk.
Mr. Malone.
Diversity, again, I apologize, but repeat the question.
No problem. Our country is living in a time of great division. How would you work to bring the community together to develop a culture of unity?
Diversity is not a problem. Division can be a problem, but diversity, whether it's racial, ethnic, left, right, politics, religion, all that stuff, the point is don't be a jerk. We may all know the maxim, the joke, a Jew, an atheist, a Catholic, a rabbi, they all walk into a bar or a coffee house and they became great friends and everybody had a good time. Why? Because nobody was a cuckoo. I won't say it here. Nobody was a jerk though. Just like you're doing, what Leadership Roswell, provide open forums for people to be heard. That's the main thing. You've experienced it, we've all experienced it, is that people want to be heard. They won't be mad, they won't blow up your buildings if they feel they're being heard. Whether or not you act on it, whether or not you can act on it, whether or not is the power or the job of the mayor or the city or the state to act on some of those things, not a problem, but just create open forums for people to express their opinions freely with no fear of reprisal. That to me, that is the absolute best way to let a community hang out together, is that you just have to respect each other's differences and know that we all have the same basic rights, we all have the same basic needs, and your rights and your needs don't create a problem for me necessarily, and I'll give you the same respect.
Okay. Mr. Jennings.
Leadership belongs and it begins at the top. And by that, you need to work with each and every counselor and give them an opportunity to hear them and listen to their needs and wants, and they have to listen to yours. And each and every counselor has to do that. And in that, the leader at the top who's running the meeting has to sit down and call people down if they get personal or anything else. Our council meetings get to be pretty wild at times, and you got to work together to get these things done. You can't do it from a bully pulpit. And, you know, things happen out here all the time, but listen, you don't go somewhere and threaten people and then in one room and then come back and expect them not to bounce back and be at your throat in the next. And that's the kind of thing, I can work with people, I've proven that I can, and I can certainly bring people together and get them to work together. And I did it in the Senate, and I can do it in the council.
Okay, the seventh and final question of this evening will go first to Mr. Malone. If you could use only one word for leadership, what would it be and why?
Pray.
I'm sorry?
Pray.
Okay.
If any man lacks wisdom, let him ask of God. He won't rebuke you. He gives it when you ask or when you seek him. So pray for wisdom. I'll stop now while I'm ahead.
I didn't hear that last part, but okay.
I'll stop now while I'm ahead.
Oh, okay. It's like the third shortest answer we ever had. Mr. Jennings.
To me, it'd be civility. By civility, you would have to have the ability to listen. You'd have to have civility, and that means that you have to have the ability to listen to your other councilmen and your constituents, and you have to listen to them, and they have to listen to you back. And you do that in a civil way, and we will be out of all the problems we have in government, like you see going on in Washington, D.C. now. If people will listen with each other and listen and then tell them their views and know you have to work out a solution to the problem.
Mr. Kintoy.
Influence. John Maxwell defines leadership as influence. What does that mean? It means you don't tell people, you convince them. How do you do that? You've got to be able to prepare, have dialogue. You've got to be able to make the case that something is the right thing to do. You've got to be able to build relationships. And that's what, as mayor, one of my jokes is I don't have a vote unless there's a tie. But it all comes down to what's the focus, what's the direction, what's the tone. We have some very contentious individuals. We do not have contentious city council meetings. I will not allow it. But I will allow individuals to have their free expression. And if I can make a difference in a discussion or a direction, then I have influence, and I have, shall we say, demonstrated leadership. It's a difficult and challenging way. You have to be willing to listen. You don't have to mind, but you have to listen.
Okay, at this point, we'll allow each of the candidates time to share their closing comments. We'll start first with Mr. Jennings, your closing thoughts.
You know, when you look about where we are, we need jobs in our community. Jobs is our leader, is my number one goal. And I'm looking for quite a few jobs, not just 50 or 60. I'm looking to get hundreds of jobs, and we have to tie that to the aviation industry. You know, we need to look at jobs. We need to respect our local businesses that are here. We don't sit here and have a civic center, put the prices so high, and bring in an outside company to run it, and then kick our caterers out that were doing it here. We kick them out, and then what do we do next? We cancel our outside contractor, and then the city hires a chef. Why not let our own businesses, in this time of COVID, have them have their own jobs out there, keep their own restaurants open? You know, we need to look at infrastructure, roads, maintenance. We had over 100 fire plugs in Roswell that didn't work, including some right here in this neighborhood. You know, you have to look at crime. Crime's a big issue. We need to do that. You have to look at the salaries of the policemen. $46,000. Artesia and everybody else around here pays more than that. You know, so we need to look at that. You know, I have a proven record when you look at the things going on, look at the museum. Why are we charging to go into a museum? Why did we do away with Roswell Recycles? It took 6 months to get Roswell Recycles in there. And, and it's just crazy. Thank you.
Mr. Kintyre, your closing thoughts?
We've come a long way. And the challenge sometimes is to look back and see where we've been. The derelict structures that spoiled this town. The Roswell College of Cosmetology on Virginia. The old Budweiser warehouse on 2nd. The houses all over this town that did nothing but attract you-know-who to these neighborhoods. We worked on that. We tear them down. We've taken down over 400. We need to take down another 400. Now, if the owner wants to change and make them acceptable, that's fine too. We've strived to come with new, different ways to deal with these challenges. We have a professional team. Yes, a fine professional team. We have a city manager that makes us the envy of every city in this state. Las Cruces has tried to steal him. No joke. We have individuals in our administrative services. Mike Matthews is over our public safety. Fire chief, he's over police, he's over fire, he's over dispatch. He's done an incredible job. I'm asking for your vote to protect this team, to keep us moving forward. We're not always going to agree on everything, but we're here to listen and we're here to look for the best way to do things. We've demonstrated that.
Ms. Malone, your closing thoughts?
Yep. Thank you again. I'm going to just use this time to hopefully to dispel a notion that my campaign could somehow hurt or split the vote. Because the funny thing is the people who are telling me this are actually fans of both of these gentlemen who think that I'm taking votes away from either of them, depending on what side you're already on. My strong support for the arts here in town has attracted many who might normally vote a little more to the liberal side of things. But I'm also pretty conservative in most of the ways that matter, and so people are telling me that I might be taking votes away from Mayor Kintyre as well. And however, and I mean this respectfully, and it turns out you have pissed off a lot of people in this town, sir. Respect. Give me 8 years and I hope I can say the same thing, honestly. But
it's easy.
Yeah.
Lean a little bit more forward, Mr. Malone.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've literally heard that a lot of people, I'm sorry, there's a lot of people that are saying that they would vote for me because they're mad or dislike one of the other ones if they thought I could win, if they thought I had a chance. I'm hearing this so often, I'm just saying, those of you who think that need to talk amongst yourselves and find out how many of you there really are that believe that way. So what I feel is going to happen is that there's going to be a little move that no matter what our voter registration card reads, no matter whose sign is in our yard right now or whose Facebook page we like, I think what is going to happen is that there's going to be a spiritual move where people are going to be alone in that voting booth and they're going to feel free to follow their heart and vote their conscience. I'm not everybody's choice in their heart and conscience, but that's how I'm going to win.
Okay. Well, on behalf of the Leadership Roswell Alumni Association, those here this evening, our community, thank you to all three of you for your commitment to our community and seeking the mayor position. Good luck to each of you.
Thank you for the correction on Joe Need, 80,000.
Dennis.
Thank you. I'll say
Yes,
that more
stay put
publicly.
just a second. Dennis. I forgot to thank one person who's been out here this evening. We've not needed him, but our Sheriff Mike Harrington was here for security, but everybody's behaved, so that's a good evening. This forum will be available to be viewed on Pecos Valley Broadcasting. The website is ksvpt.com. They will get it posted here soon, and you could watch it or have others watch it also. The Roswell Day Record, John Dillmore says it on the website. For the RDR, you can also log on and find further information about the candidates. On behalf of the Leadership Roswell Alumni Association, thank you for coming out this evening. I want to challenge each one of you to get out to vote. God bless you, and may God bless Roswell.
Now can we get up?
Sure, all together.
Oh, that's okay. All right. Well, Senator, have a good day. Stay warm.
first chance I get, I'm going to clear that up and say thank you
Yeah,
for
you're welcome.
correcting me on that point.
No, this is, you did good. This is a good time.
You too. Like I said, I've always supported you. I was honestly surprised when I was going for a third term. And then I thought about it because I was talking to you 6 months ago before I ever wanted to do that. But,
No, I get you. And I know, and I'm breaking tradition here. Blah, blah, blah.
Well,